With friends, one must be sincere. Upon reflecting on the situation, Su Bin earnestly advised Mr. Jiang. The price is indeed negotiable. There is no need for you to spend excessively. In response, Jiang Shi removed the yellow paper from her forehead and remarked, "Ah Bin, you do not comprehend. Every matter is a matter of cause and effect. If I take this bargain and it brings misfortune to my family's business, what shall I do? Saving that little money does not even equate to a day's earnings for my family. Therefore, if you adhere to the market price, it would be a gesture of kindness towards me. Thank you, Ah Bin." Jiang Shi felt compelled to express her gratitude. Unable to sway her, Su Bin ceased his persuasion. When he quoted the market price of 130 million, Jiang Shi did not even flinch. "Ah Bin, please provide me with your Alipay. We are about to view the property. Are we not? Hand it over." Perplexed, Su Bin complied and shared his Alipay with Jiang Shi. Just as they connected as friends, Su Bin heard the crisp notification from Alipay. 1 million yuan has been credited. In that instant, Su Bin was taken aback. Looking at him, Jiang Shi cheerfully declared, "Ah Bin, now that you have accepted my deposit, you cannot introduce this property to others. Let us proceed. I am eager to see my house." In a daze, Su Bin was driven by Jiang Shi in a Rolls-Royce Cullinan to Villa Number 4 of Longlin Wuyue. As soon as the Cullinan came to a halt, Jiang Shi's expression shifted dramatically. "Oh no, Ah Bin, someone wants to buy my house. What should I do? Speak up, Ah Bin. You must think of a solution." Chapter 6. Seated in the passenger seat, Su Bin caught sight of Tian Wenba. Clad in a white shirt, Tian Wenba appeared to lead the way like a devoted servant. Behind him was a young man adorned in trendy attire, whose physique suggested he was male, albeit rather slender. Following this fashion-forward youth were two burly bodyguards. Without much contemplation, Su Bin surmised that Tian Wenba had successfully located a client. Noticing Jiang Shi, draped in a ghostly robe, displaying a face of anxiety, Su Bin quickly reassured him. "Do not fret. This is a haunted house, and no one would be inclined to purchase it. What if that fellow has a penchant for such things? Even if he does, he would never spend 3 billion on a haunted property. Mr. Jiang, with your wealth, what is there to fear? Ah Bin Gu, your words carry wisdom. What shall we do now? Let us stealthily follow them and observe their conversation. Come." Swiftly, Su Bin and Jiang Shi crept along quietly. The fourth villa, with its considerable expanse, allowed them to infiltrate without detection. It appeared that the trendy young man had been led upstairs by Tian Wenba. At that moment, Tian Wenba was in high spirits. The client before him was named Yuziki, a scion of the coal industry hailing from Hushi province. Rumor had it that this coal heir possessed over 10 massive coal mines. In this day and age, any tycoon owning such colossal mines was no ordinary wealthy individual. In Tian Wenba's mind, coal barons epitomized the notion of being rich yet foolish, and so too were their offspring. When Yuziki remained silent, he appeared quite delicate, making it challenging to ascertain gender. Whether through appearance, name, or even the sound of their voice, distinguishing their gender proved arduous. Uncertain how to address Yuziki upon their first encounter, Tian Wenba, being a sales expert, quickly devised a suitable title. "Esteemed guest, please take your time and be cautious of the stairs." Hearing this form of address, Yuziki chuckled. "It is the first time I've heard such a title outside a club. You are quite the character. Now, let us discuss the property. By the way, what is that odor in the house?" The voice of this fashion-forward Yuziki was remarkably distinctive. If one closed their eyes and did not look, it resembled that of a lively sheep. It was indeed a challenge for Tian Wenba to discern their gender. Yuziki's initial remarks brought joy to Tian Wenba, yet the latter part caused a pang of concern. Selling the haunted dragon scale Villa Number 4 through conventional means would be exceedingly difficult. The only recourse lay in an elaborate deception. With profits in the 8-figure range, both Tian Wenba and Lu Jialu were willing to take the risk. With a quick mental shift, Tian Wenba cheerfully responded, "The ventilation system has been turned off due to the lack of occupancy. Once it is aired out, all will be well. Now, let us discuss the house." Tian Wenba had long since memorized the details of Villa Number 4. As he presented the information, Yuziki appeared quite pleased. After a brief span of 10 minutes, Yuziki nodded and remarked, "The house is impressive. I find it to my liking." Upon entering the house, an inexplicable sense of foreboding washed over us, as if unseen eyes were scrutinizing my every move. A remark by Yuziki sent a shiver down Tian Wenba's spine. After all, this was a reputed haunted residence, and one could only speculate about the presence of the supernatural. They say suspicion breeds phantoms. As Tian Wenba surveyed his surroundings, He could hardly believe his eyes when he glimpsed a fleeting shadow at the staircase. Alarmed, he instinctively covered his mouth. Yet, upon a second glance at the staircase, he found nothing amiss. Driven by the allure of a substantial commission, he steeled himself against the fear of spirits. "What troubles you?" he queried. "Oh, nothing, esteemed guest. I merely felt a hiccup coming on and feared it might disturb you." TSK, I am not one to be so finicky. This house appears quite satisfactory. Let us discuss the price. Upon hearing Yuzuki inquire about the price, Tion Winboss sensed an opportunity. Taking a deep breath, he replied, "Esteemed guest, this villa is priced at 130 million, though the owner has granted me the authority to reduce it to 120 million. 120 million, you say? Quite reasonable. Merely a few shovels of coal less worth." The price was indeed fair. Being a straightforward individual, Tion Winboss saw no need to haggle. "You can make that decision, correct?" "Absolutely." At that moment, Tion Winboss's heart raced. "All right, Uncle Neo, please call the finance department and send a legal advisor to review the contract. I will purchase this house." One of the accompanying bodyguards nodded and stepped aside to make the call, while Yuzuki began to wander about the premises. At the staircase, Jiang Shi, who had nearly been exposed, was on the verge of tears. In a hushed tone, she implored, "Ah Bin, what should we do? That flamboyant peacock is wealthier than my family. They are coal miners. Do not panic. Observe how his bodyguard has already sensed something amiss." Su Bin's keen powers of observation revealed that Yuzuki's other bodyguard was entranced by a particular mural. Yuzuki, too, noticed the peculiar behavior of the other bodyguard. "Uncle Ma, what is the matter?" "Chi-Chi, there is blood." "Blood?" Indeed. At the edge of the mural, Yuzuki spotted a patch of dried blood. The sight of it made her complexion pale. "Hey, come here. What is this? How can there be blood in this house? Are you concealing something from me?" At her words, Tion Winboss was taken aback. In preparation for this transaction, he had communicated with Kai Shia's steward just yesterday, ensuring the villa had been thoroughly cleaned. No one had anticipated such an oversight. Regaining his composure, he replied, "Esteemed guest, this must be mosquito blood. Are you foolish, or am I? Mosquito blood does not appear like this. Surely, no one has lost their life here, right? It can't be a haunted house. Esteemed guest, do you truly believe I, as your intermediary, would sell you a haunted residence? Even if it isn't mosquito blood, it could be from someone who was injured and splattered here. This small area is of no consequence. I shall arrange for 20 cleaners to conduct a thorough cleaning afterward." At that moment, Yuzuki's mind was already racing with concern. Squinting at Tion Winboss, Yuzuki remarked, "I shall momentarily assume this is not a haunted house. Let us pause the transaction for now. I warn you, sire, if I discover you have sold me accursed property, I shall entomb you within these very walls." Observing Tion Winboss's impending retorts, Su Bin recognized it was time to take action. "Come, let us ascend," he called to Jiang Shi, who unexpectedly bounded up the stairs with greater speed than Su Bin himself. Thud, thud, thud. In a swift motion, Jiang Shi darted up the staircase. The sudden commotion alerted Yuzuki's two bodyguards, causing her to instinctively glance back. Upon glimpsing Jiang Shi, Yuzuki's mind momentarily faltered. Although Jiang Shi was a boy, his complexion was notably pale, almost ghostly. His elongated face, combined with the scarlet zombie robe he had yet to shed, rendered the scene eerily surreal. "Ah, a ghost. Uncle Neo, Uncle Ma. Seize it. Chapter 7, Astonishing. Encountering her at a business KTV, Su Bin covered his ears as the piercing shriek of Yuzuki echoed through the room. Observing her loud outburst, he bellowed, "We are humans, here to view a property." His commanding voice seemed to snap Yuzuki back to her senses. Gazing at Su Bin, her face drained of color. She retorted, "Humans? Are you all right, buddy? Which decent person wears a zombie robe? And in red, no less." At Yuzuki's words, Jiang Shi grew displeased. "This is art," she exclaimed. "Well, you nearly scared us to death." Yuzuki clutched her chest, feeling as if a heart attack was imminent. With a broad smile, Su Bin stepped forward and said, "My apologies, sir. We are also here to view a property. I just didn't expect that you and my client share such an unusual interest. You enjoy haunted houses as well, having been suppressed by his family since childhood." Su Bin possessed a slightly mischievous nature. Hearing his sly remarks, Yuzuki raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean, sir? We're not guys." "Wait, did you just say haunted house?" Yuzuki's declaration of her gender caught Su Bin off guard. Before him stood a remarkably delicate-looking individual with short hair that grazed her ears. Depending on perspective, One might perceive her as male or female. However, her height of 1.67 meters, combined with her slender frame, indeed made it challenging to determine her gender. As a top-tier salesperson, Subin was not one to be entangled in matters of gender identity. With a faint look of shock, he remarked, "Did this gentleman not inform you that this is a haunted house? 7 people have died here, 2 of whom were dismembered. This is common knowledge throughout Jingzhou. You could easily verify it." Subin's words sent a chill down Yuzuki's spine. Though she possessed a tomboyish demeanor and a fearless nature, she was particularly apprehensive about ghosts and spirits. Imagining herself purchasing this villa and being visited by dismembered souls in the middle of the night left her thoroughly unsettled. Meanwhile, Tian Wenba stood in shock. Turning to Subin, he shouted, "Subin, what are you doing? This is slander. Sir, he's defaming me." From Tian Wenba's guilty expression, Yuzuki discerned that Subin spoke the truth. Fixing her gaze on Tian Wenba, she coldly remarked, "Do you think I won't get angry and that we are fools? Selling me a haunted house. Who do you think you are? Uncle Nyo, Uncle Ma? Teach him a lesson. Drag him out and beat him." At her command, her 2 burly bodyguards advanced toward Tian Wenba. Seeing the imposing figures approaching, he screamed, "Don't come any closer. Hitting someone is illegal. It's against the law." "Illegal? We have money. Pay for the cost of a truckload of coal to beat him. Do it." Amidst Tian Wenba's desperate cries, the 2 bodyguards dragged him down the stairs. At this moment, Yuzuki joined Subin's side. Standing on her toes slightly, she patted his shoulder and said, "Thanks, buddy. Having purchased this haunted house, I was utterly terrified. Here is my business card. Should you require coal in the future, reach out to me for a 10% discount." With those words, Yuzuki swiftly descended the stairs. After the spirited Yuzuki exited the villa, Subin cheerfully remarked, "Mr. Jiang, it seems there is no one to compete with you now." A radiant smile adorned Jiang Shi's face as he produced a compass, wandering throughout the villa. Subin remained by Jiang Shi's side, contemplating the wildly spinning compass. Could it be that this house truly harbors spirits? How exhilarating. Ah, Bingil. This is the quintessential haunted house. I would purchase this property regardless of the cost. Observing Jiang Shi's satisfaction, Subin quickly inquired, "Shall I arrange a time with the owner?" "Certainly. Please ask if I can stay here for the next few days. I am utterly enamored with this place. I feel inspiration flooding in. In the stillness of the deep night, amidst a plethora of fragmented spirits, Jiang Shi's exuberance sent a shiver down Subin's spine. Approaching the window, Subin dialed Kai Shi's number, while simultaneously noting that Yuzuki's bodyguard was currently administering a thrashing to Tian Wenba. As it was the weekend and Kai Shi was out of town, the contract signing was scheduled for Tuesday, just 1 day hence. Jiang Shi was reluctant to part with this abode. Upon learning that Subin could drive, he tossed him the keys to his Cullinan, signaling that Subin could return it after the contract was signed. Thus, Subin drove Jiang Shi's top-tier Cullinan back to the city center. Upon returning to the urban area, Subin did not head back to the hotel where he was staying. With only the final contract signing remaining, Subin needed to prepare further. He first called Wang Yang and a former colleague, as the transaction of such second-hand luxury properties involves numerous procedures. Both Wang Yang and his colleague were well-versed in these matters. Additionally, Subin visited a tobacco and alcohol supermarket to purchase 2 packs of Zhonghua cigarettes and a case of mitai, intended for soliciting favors. While en route back to the city, Subin contemplated an important issue regarding the taxation of his commission. Technically, this payment was a brokerage fee, which, when declared under personal income tax, would result in a significant portion being deducted. However, if he registered an individual information consulting studio, he could save a quarter of his tax obligations. Moreover, this method of tax saving was both reasonable and lawful. Unfortunately, time was of the essence, given more time. Subin could even obtain a tax registration license. One of his well-connected university classmates specialized in assisting others with various licenses and qualifications. A connection Subin deemed essential to utilize. In order to expedite obtaining the license, Subin not only prepared the tobacco and alcohol but also set aside 20,000 yuan in cash. His friend, Wang Qi, his university roommate, agreed without hesitation to Subin's request when they arranged to meet at a seafood restaurant. Wang Qi even accepted only the tobacco and alcohol, refusing to take the money at all. As the wine flowed and the dishes were savored, Subin draped his arm around Wang Qi's shoulder and remarked, "Third brother, if you refuse to accept money, you must let me arrange your next outing. Speak up, shall it be a bathhouse or a commercial KTV?" During their university days, Wang Qi had already attained the status of a sovereign in the realm of bathhouses, although he had a penchant for the opposite sex. His affections were reserved solely for women of the night, making him quite an anomaly. Upon hearing Su Bin's suggestion, Wang Qi's eyes flickered as he replied, "Let us opt for the KTV, something more subdued. The Spring Thunder operation is still ongoing. We wouldn't want to implicate you. Third brother. Then let us proceed." The establishment where Su Bin was hosting Wang Qi was conveniently located near a street lined with KTV venues. Selecting the grandest of them all, Su Bin booked a private room, perhaps due to their youth and unassuming attire. The business manager leading the group seemed to have brought in a rather lackluster first batch of performers, having frequented KTVs while entertaining clients. Su Bin was displeased by the manager's choices and remarked, "Are you taking advantage of our inexperience? Bring in another group. We desire trained professionals, not a horde of extras." The ability to demand a change of performers in such an establishment clearly indicated his experience. Soon, a new group of performers made their entrance, and Su Bin took special note of them. Their quality was evidently superior. After assessing the new arrivals, his gaze landed on a visibly anxious woman at the back of the line. What on earth is she doing here? Chapter 8. They are not human. Yet I have my principles. Wang Qi heard Su Bin's words and turned to him with a cheerful demeanor, asking, "Bin, what is the matter? Have you encountered someone familiar?" He added jovially, "Your third brother is quite loyal. I want to compete with you for acquaintances, no matter how beautiful they may be." Hearing Wang Qi's comment, Su Bin forced a smile and replied, "Xin Yu, Su Yaozu's wife."
Okay, one
"What?
more.
Which one?"
I should have
Wang
enough
Qi
to
inquired.
get
"The
flying.
first one on the left." Su Bin indicated. Wang Qi was momentarily taken aback. Following Su Bin's gesture, he turned his gaze to the left and indeed spotted Xin Yu. Standing at a height of 1.7 meters, Xin Yu embodied the essence of a delicate beauty. Clad in an elegant black gown, her pure, oval face seemed out of place in such a gritty environment. Noticing that Wang Qi and Su Bin had not yet acknowledged the performers, the business manager quickly interjected. "Esteemed guests, these beauties are all newcomers. The three on the left are starting their first day." Feeling a tad awkward, Wang Qi pointed to two of the young women and remarked to Su Bin, "Bin, don't hesitate. You can't expect other men to summon your sister-in-law. Can you? Isn't your brother quite successful? What is going on?" Su Bin's parents had engaged in numerous unseemly acts throughout their lives, including hosting a banquet for Su Bin's classmates and friends while completely sidelining him during Su Yaozu's wedding. Hence, Wang Qi recognized Xin Yu. Though he hadn't initially connected the dots, Su Yaozu's business had suffered losses, leaving him with a debt of 1.5 million. "I've had a falling out with my family, and I've severed ties with them," Su Bin confided. His bond with Wang Qi was strong, allowing for candid conversation. Additionally, Su Bin sought to warn Wang Qi, fearing Su Yaozu might ask Wang Qi for financial assistance. Upon hearing Su Bin's words, Wang Qi clapped his hands in approval, saying, "It was about time. Your parents are indeed out of line. Among our peers, you've earned the most, yet you've endured the most hardship. It's all due to your family's burdens. Today, we must celebrate. We shall not return until we are thoroughly inebriated." As they spoke, Su Bin gestured toward Xin Yu. When Xin Yu sat beside Su Bin, the atmosphere was palpably awkward. Soon, their table was adorned with an array of nuts, snacks, and fruits, not to mention an assortment of alcoholic beverages. Perhaps liberated from the shackles of the Su family, Su Bin seemed to indulge in a bit of vindictive spending. The sight of the exquisite drinks astonished Wang Qi. "Bin, enough. This is excessive," he remarked. "Third brother, you've looked after me well in the past. No more talk. Today, let loose and enjoy. You engage in conversation with those two lovely ladies, and I shall speak with her," Su Bin instructed. Wang Qi understood Su Bin's intentions. At that moment, Xin Yu appeared to have regained her composure somewhat. Glancing at Su Bin, she softly uttered, "Brother." Before them, Xin Yu, dressed in a sheer black gown, with her long, elegant legs, captivated Su Bin, leaving him momentarily spellbound. Pouring her a glass of wine, Su Bin gently inquired, "So, tell me, what is the situation? Among the Su family, you are the only one who seems to possess any humanity." Listening to Su Bin, Xin Yu smiled wryly and said, "What else could it be? Our family owes too much money, and Su Yaozu insisted that I come here to earn. Brother, I am merely here to accompany others for drinks, and today is my first day at work. I am not involved in anything else. Please believe me. The business is divided into two categories, the pure and the impure. The establishment Su Bin visited is a pure venue, where the girls engage in drinking, chatting, and games. Of course, if any other activities were to ensue, that would be a matter between the guests and the girls. Although Shun Yu claimed it was her first day at work, Su Bin could only chuckle at her assertion of merely serving drinks. Maintaining one's principles for a day is one thing. Could she do so for 2 or 3 days? Reflecting on this, Su Bin lamented that the Su family truly had their issues. Do you have evidence of murder in Su Yazu's hands? How can he make his wife accompany others for drinks and still continue their life together? He ordered you to come, and you complied? Su Bin questioned. Brother, I wish it were different. However, I am left with no choice. Su Yazu claims this is a shared marital debt, and if I do not find a solution, we will both end up as deadbeats. Shin Yu's tone was filled with endless grievance, prompting a laugh from Su Bin. People typically enjoy their marriages while basking in their husband's wealth. You are certainly bringing shame upon the family. Isn't it just 1,500,000? Even if your marital home is a resettlement property, it must be worth that much. And his parents' house is also under his name. Why does he need you to come out? Su Bin continued. However, as soon as he finished speaking, tears streamed down Shin Yu's face. Brother, it is not 1,500,000. It is 8 million. The house has long been mortgaged, and I am at my wit's end. If I do not come, he beats me and threatens to kill me and my entire family if I refuse to help him repay the debt. Su Bin was taken aback by Shin Yu's words. It was evident that Su's parents truly regarded him as a fool. He realized that had he accepted that debt of 1,500,000, his life would have been irrevocably destroyed. If Su Yaozu could compel his wife to accompany others for drinks, it was not beyond the realm of possibility that he would force Su Bin into male modeling, or worse. Looking at the tearful Shun Yu, Su Bin sneered, 8 million? How long do you intend to serve drinks here? Let alone serving drinks, even if you called others to stand and glare at you. You would still never manage to repay it. Shin Yu, within the Su family, you might still have some dignity. But let me say this, the Su family is a bottomless pit. My status is that of a black slave, and what fate could you possibly expect as his wife? Su Yaozu can owe 8 million today, and tomorrow he could owe 10 million, the day after that 15 million. Think carefully about that. With that, Su Bin fell silent. Shin Yu held a certain respect for her brother-in-law, which is why he felt compelled to offer a few words of advice. Whether she would heed them was entirely up to her. After all, she was Su Yaozu's wife, and Su Bin felt somewhat like a savior for having spoken even those few words. As Shin Yu listened to Su Bin, she fell into deep contemplation. Glancing at Su Bin beside her, she suddenly pondered a question. What if she had married Su Bin back in the day? Would the outcome have been different? Brother, I raise a glass to you. Regardless of the circumstances, I extend my heartfelt gratitude. Simultaneously, I owe you an apology. Su Yaozu has been excessively unreasonable over the years. As the first glass was consumed, Shin Yu could no longer contain herself. One bottle after another found its way into her stomach, and soon, she was thoroughly intoxicated. Observing the inebriated Shin Yu, Su Bin felt compelled to play the role of the benevolent friend. Given Shin Yu's current state, it was inevitable that someone would take advantage of her if he did not intervene. It remains true that Su Yuzu is not a decent person, but Shin Yu possesses admirable qualities. Su Bin is capable of distinguishing between grievances and kindness. After settling the bill, Su Bin escorted Shin Yu out of the nightclub. Although the staff attempted to intervene, Wang Chi's words seemed to diffuse the situation, and they were allowed to leave unimpeded. They soon arrived at a nearby hotel, where Su Bin unceremoniously placed Shin Yu on the bed. Just as he was about to depart, Shin Yu unexpectedly embraced him from behind. Brother, I'm not drunk. Thank you for today. I truly appreciate your kindness. I recognize that the Su family owes you much, and I am willing to make amends. It would be disingenuous for Su Bin to claim he was not stirred by the embrace of such a captivating woman. However, caught between reason and desire, he opted for the former. Turning around, he gently pushed Shin Yu away. Though they may not be perfect individuals, I have my own principles. Rest now. After Su Bin exited the room, Shin Yu buried her face in her hands and wept. In that moment, she felt a profound kinship with Su Bin, both of them burdened by their respective tribulations. Chapter 9. Commission received. As Su Bin stepped out of his door, he noticed Wang Chi leaning against the wall, smoking. Casting a glance at Wang Chi, Su Bin curiously inquired, "Have you finished already? So soon?" Su Bin recalled that Wang Chi had brought an actress along, and their entrance into the room clearly indicated they were about to engage in foreign language studies. Wang Chi, upon hearing Su Bin's remark, expressed his displeasure. "Nonsense. I just got started half an hour ago. That woman demanded a remuneration of 12,000. Is she made of diamonds? Even a visit to the bathhouse on the second floor isn't that expensive." Pausing for a moment, Wang Qi gestured towards Shen Yu's room and continued. I thought you wouldn't emerge. To be honest, considering how Su Yuzu treated you, having a liaison with his wife seems trivial. Moreover, I can tell that Shen Yu appears to have a soft spot for you. Wang Qi's bold words elicited a resigned smile from Su Bin. Some matters are perhaps best left unpursued. Su Bin was indeed a man of principles. Was Shen Yu beautiful? Yes. Had Su Bin been moved? Certainly. Yet, he also harbored reservations. Setting aside ethics, Shen Yu was currently inebriated. If she were to make an overt advance, Su Bin would find it hard to justify his actions. His commission was on the verge of being secured, and if he desired companionship, there were countless women available. Opting for Wang Qi's 12,000 yuan actress was a gamble. Shen Yu posed too great a risk. Listening to Su Bin, Wang Qi nodded. Not tired? Let's head to the barbecue stall. You can't go to the bathhouse now. Come on. As they walked towards the elevator, Wang Qi remarked, Bin, I can see you've discovered a lucrative path. Remember this. Don't flaunt your wealth in front of the Su family. Getting entangled with them will bring you trouble. Do they dare to rob me? I owe them nothing in this lifetime. Just keep it in mind. Understood, third brother. The night passed without further discussion, and after enjoying a barbecue meal, the two returned to the hotel for rest. Naturally, Su Bin did not share a room with Shen Yu. The following morning, Su Bin began to handle the licensing matters with Wang Qi. Wang Qi indeed had some connections. What would typically be a cumbersome process was completed in a single day. Holding the license inscribed with Qihong Information Consulting Studio, Su Bin realized that his life was about to set sail in earnest. On Tuesday, the appointed time to sign the contract arrived. Driving Jiangshi's Cullinan, Su Bin arrived at Villa No. 4 of Longlin Wuyue. Jiangshi had been residing there for the past couple of days and seemed to be enjoying herself. Knowing that the contract was to be signed today, she had even summoned a legal advisor from her family S group. Wang Yang and Su Bin's former subordinate, Tian Tian, also arrived. Tian Tian was a meticulous clerk at Jiala Real Estate, responsible for managing contracts and paperwork. At 10 o'clock in the morning, a McLaren Senna supercar pulled up at the entrance of Villa No. 4, followed by two Mercedes-Benz G-Class vehicles.
Shiny.
The sight of the McLaren Senna dazzled Su Bin.
Nice. Shiny
The price of
PG.
this supercar reaches tens of millions, akin to a mobile luxury apartment.
That's cool.
When the doors of the McLaren Senna swung open, Su Bin was first greeted by a pair of long, elegant legs. Following this, a woman clad in a flowing white gown descended gracefully, slipping into a pair of high heels. Su Bin found it difficult to ascertain her age. She could easily be in her early 30s or perhaps in her mid-20s. Nevertheless, it was undeniable that this woman possessed striking beauty and an exquisite demeanor, and Su Bin vaguely sensed a resemblance to a former celebrity from Hong Kong. As he gazed at the enchanting figure before him, Wang Yang whispered, Master, this sister is truly stunning, reminiscent of Zhou Huimin. Upon hearing Wang Yang's words, Su Bin suddenly realized that the woman driving the McLaren Senna bore an uncanny likeness to the once-beloved star, Zhou Huimin. The sound of her heels tapping against the ground resonated in Su Bin's ears. Approaching him, a melodious voice inquired, Are you Su Bin, my little brother? Su Bin recognized that voice all too well. It unmistakably belonged to the affluent Kai Shiya. Hello, Sister Kai. I am Su Bin, he replied. In that moment, Su Bin felt compelled to retract his previous statements. A woman with such an enchanting voice could indeed be a beauty, a truly magnificent one at that. The initial impression he made on Kai Xia was quite favorable. Moreover, Su Bin's sale of the haunted mansion for 130 million was something Kai Xia could hardly fathom. My little brother, thank you for your assistance with this matter. I have a meeting this afternoon. Shall we proceed swiftly? Kai Xia inquired. Please, after you, Su Bin gestured, as she glided elegantly into Villa No. 4. With a reputable credit rating, Su Bin felt no fear of Kai Xia defaulting on her debts. The two large G-Class vehicles behind her were filled with staff, including a professional assigned for the transfer of ownership. For the wealthy, such processes tend to be expedited. Once all contractual details were confirmed to be correct, both Kai Xia and Jiang Shi inscribed their names on the documents. As she arranged for her secretary to initiate the transfer, Kai Xia turned to Su Bin. Little brother, please hand me your bank card. I will transfer the funds to you. On the surface, Su Bin appeared remarkably composed, yet internally, a tempest of emotions swirled within him. In just a short while, he would become a millionaire. The existence of the internet had led many to regard money as mere numbers. In fact, with 10 million, as long as one refrained from excessive extravagance, one could lead a comfortable life in many second or third-tier cities. Moreover, Subin possessed more than just 110 million.
Can this fly?
Industrial Bank, July 9th, 2024, 11:37 a.m.
It's a bird,
Your
but it
account
can't
ending
fly.
in 168 has received a transfer of
That's
50
disappointing.
million. Current balance 28 million. Gazing at the credited 50 million, Subin exclaimed, "Sister Kai, this amount is excessive." According to their prior agreement, Subin's commission amounted to 44 million, with 30 calculated on the first 80 million, yielding 24 million. The villa's sale price of 130 million exceeded the 80 million threshold by 50 million, for which a 40 commission equated to 20 million. With an additional tip of 1 million, Kai Shia only needed to offer 45 million. Surprisingly, she ended up giving 50 million. Upon hearing this, Kai Shia smiled and remarked, "This villa has been on the market for 3 years without a buyer. Keeping it would only render it a liability. The extra money is merely a token of appreciation. Young man, this is my business card. Should you require any consulting in the future, do not hesitate to reach out. Time is a bit tight today, so I want to be able to treat you to a meal. We shall defer that to another occasion. Take care, Sister Kai," he replied. Kai Shia arrived with elegance and departed with the same grace, leaving only the trace of her McLaren Senna upon the ground. Jiangshi stood before the villa that now belonged to him, grinning foolishly. Suddenly recalling something, he picked up his phone. Just as Subin was about to return the keys to the Cullinan, he heard his phone buzz with a notification for million yuan received via Alipay. Subin looked at the transfer from Jiangshi, bewildered. "Brother Ben, I could not have acquired such a splendid house without your assistance. This sum is merely a token of gratitude. I have found new inspiration today, so I will not be able to treat you to a meal. Whenever you have time, feel free to visit me. This place is quite spacious, and I will reserve a large room for you." As he watched Jiangshi enter the villa, Subin was left in a state of shock, increasingly perplexed by the world of the affluent. At that moment, Wang Yang and Tian approached, both wearing expressions of astonishment. The infamous haunted house at Longlin Wuyue No. 4 was a commission king in the real estate industry, and now it had been sold by Subin. Wang Yang and Tian had only signed the property contract and were unaware of Subin's commission. However, they understood well that the commission for the villa at Longlin Wuyue No. 4 was substantial. Looking at Subin, Tian expressed her admiration. "Brother Ben, you are incredible. Your new company is astonishing. You have access to such resources. You must treat us to a lavish feast." Chapter 10. Earning without spending. This money is not earned in vain for Subin. Treating 2 young ladies to a sumptuous meal was hardly a matter of concern. Today, while drafting contracts, both had contributed significantly. The dense array of documents that Subin was tasked with managing was indeed quite a headache. Exiting the Longlin Wuyue Villa district, Tian drove her own Golf sedan, bringing everyone to the Shangri-La Hotel in Jingzhou. The Jiangnan Spring restaurant within the Shangri-La is renowned locally, celebrated for its exquisite Huayang cuisine. In the past, dining at such an establishment would have felt extravagant to Subin. However, upon glancing at the menu, he realized that the prices were not exorbitant by his current standards. The signature Jiangnan braised pork was priced at 158 for a portion, salt and pepper shredded potatoes at 66, little yellow croaker with rice cakes at 78, Huayang fried soft-shell turtle at 188, and the most expensive Buddha jumps over the wall at just over 1,000. Observing the meager portions, Subin ordered over 10 dishes, many of the house specialties in double servings. Both Wang Yang and Tian were taken aback. Initially, they had intended to order just a couple of dishes for a photo opportunity. Little did they anticipate Subin's generous order exceeding 10 dishes. The total for the meal would certainly climb into the thousands. "Brother Ben, this is too much. It will go to waste," Wang Yang protested. "Indeed, master. There's no need for the Buddha jumps over the wall. It's not even that delightful," Tian added. Subin, smiling, replied, "Those portions are merely fit for feeding a cat. No harm in ordering. If we cannot finish, we'll take it home. If I earn money without spending it, what is the point of earning in the first place?" Subin's demeanor astonished Wang Yang and Tian. Was this truly the same Subin who once opted for the cheapest lunchboxes? Yet, upon reflection, the 2 young ladies found solace in understanding the commission Subin had received for this transaction was beyond their imagination. As the dishes arrived, the 2 women fully indulged. "Sister Tian, this is delicious, and this one too." Yes, hick." Watching the girls eat voraciously like 2 little hamsters, Subin chuckled to himself. At times, he realized that aside from his family, there were still many good people in this world. The trio enjoyed their meal for over an hour. Despite their petite frames, Wang Yang and Tian Tian displayed considerable appetites. By the end, both young ladies reclined in their chairs, reluctant to move. Just then, their phones chimed with notifications of bank transfers, one after the other. Tian Tian glanced at her phone, astonished. "Brother Ben, why did you transfer me 50,000 yuan?" "Yes, master, why did you transfer money to me as well?" Wang Yang added. The two girls had come solely to assist Su Bin today and felt a sense of guilt after being treated to such an extravagant meal. Gazing at the two young women, Su Bin smiled and said, "In our line of work, it is customary to receive compensation for assisting with contracts. This is what you rightly deserve. Brother Ben, this is far too much, especially since you have already treated us to dinner. Indeed, master, this money is excessive. Money is money, and business is business. Take it. If you wish to purchase a new fruit machine, then do so. If you desire a handbag, buy it. Save some for travel as well." Observing Su Bin's resolute demeanor, the two girls exchanged glances, uncertain whether they should accept the money. "In truth, I have a matter for both of you to assist with." Upon hearing that Su Bin required help, Wang Yang promptly responded, "Master, please feel free to speak your mind." Su Bin continued, "I intend to venture out on my own. After you return, could you inquire if anyone is interested in joining me? If so, please arrange a meeting for us to discuss the terms." He added, "I seek experienced individuals. I do not wish to engage novices. Moreover, I possess a substantial clientele and an array of properties, ensuring a minimum of 5 to 10 transactions each month. Master, I am in. In fact, I have already resigned." Wang Yang interjected eagerly before Tian Tian could say anything. Tian Tian also expressed her willingness to join Su Bin. It was clear that if Su Bin managed to sell the infamous haunted house of Longlin Wuyue, his reputation in the industry would soar. Should he indeed guarantee 5 to 10 monthly transactions, the sales personnel would go wild with excitement. With the initial plan laid out, Su Bin declared, "Then let us proceed separately. I will search for office space while you two scout for talent. We can accept the funds now, correct?" A wise general ensures provisions are ready before the march. With Su Bin's insistence, Wang Yang and Tian Tian reluctantly accepted the money. After receiving Su Bin's funds, the spirited Tian Tian playfully kissed Su Bin on the cheek, exclaiming, "Thank you, boss." Wang Yang, caught up in the moment, followed suit, "Thank you, boss." Su Bin, taken aback by the sudden affection, could only smile wryly at the two girls. Soon, the trio embarked on their respective tasks. This time, Su Bin did not intend to simply engage in information consulting for brokerage fees. The potential of the matching service awaited his development. However, before that, Su Bin needed to establish a real estate company and contemplate how to maximize profits. Simultaneously, once the company was founded, he could enjoy a steady influx of cash. With a matching service in place, selling properties would be as effortless as drinking water. All Su Bin required was to continuously delegate tasks to his subordinates. Real estate agents are among the most industrious individuals. As long as they can close deals, they are willing to work around the clock, even more dedicated than Paul Liu. In Su Bin's preliminary vision, the forthcoming real estate company would be the focal point of his career, while the Qihang Information Consulting Studio would serve as a means to earn pocket money. After leaving the restaurant, Su Bin rented a suite at the Shangri-La Hotel for the month. His current finances were sufficient to purchase a decent property. Yet after viewing Longlin Wuyue and the Jinxiu Golf Manor, he found ordinary houses lacking appeal. Su Bin pondered how to swiftly commence operations and generate revenue. However, before that, he needed to procure a suitable wardrobe. The specifics of clothing were unnecessary to elaborate upon. As a boss, Su Bin could no longer afford to wear cheap white shirts. Arriving in the bustling commercial district of Jingzhou, Su Bin first purchased several comfortable outfits. He did not overly pursue luxury brands when it came to clothing. For Su Bin, comfort is the paramount consideration when it comes to clothing. After purchasing some garments, he replaced his mobile phone, trading in his long-used budget Xiaomi 10A for a luxurious Huawei Mate X5, a foldable device priced over 10,000 yuan. Although he has an affinity for Apple products, he hesitates to buy one for fear of being labeled as someone who pays in installments. Upon arriving at the entrance of a Land Rover dealership, he suddenly found himself unable to move. The sight of the imposing Land Rover vehicles within the showroom drew him in, as he has always preferred larger off-road vehicles and SUVs over sedans. The Range Rover has consistently been one of his favored models. His admiration for the Land Rover does not stem from its high-end status. In terms of luxury, the Range Rover cannot compare to Jiangshi's exquisite Cullinan. Rather, Su Bin is attracted to the Range Rover because he has heard it is a remedy for feelings of inferiority. There is a saying in the community that one can only possess either a Land Rover or a sense of self-doubt. Having suppressed his feelings of inadequacy for a significant portion of his life, Subin decided it was time to confront his insecurities. It is said that wealth enhances one's presence, and with his newfound affluence, Subin's demeanor shifted remarkably. Standing at an impressive height of 180 centimeters with striking good looks, he entered the dealership where a charming saleswoman approached him with a radiant smile. "Good day, sir. Welcome to the Land Rover dealership. I am Vivi. How may I assist you today?" After appraising the voluptuous saleswoman before him, Subin calmly replied, "I would like a Range Rover specifically designed to alleviate self-doubt." His words momentarily stunned the saleswoman. Quickly, he added, "The Range Rover SV Autobiography Long Wheelbase." At this, Vivi understood perfectly. "Please, step inside, sir. Would you like something to drink?" Seizing the opportunity while Subin was distracted, Vivi discreetly sent a message. "Manager, we have a big customer here. What is the markup on the SV?" Chapter 11. The lingering spirits of the Su family. Subin's fortune was rather fortunate. The availability of a Land Rover Range Rover is typically scarce, yet this 4S dealership had one in stock. Upon gazing at the majestic Range Rover SV Autobiography Long Wheelbase, Subin was instantly captivated. It is said in the realm that one cannot possess both a Range Rover and feelings of inferiority, with the unspoken addendum being that such a feat is only possible if one's rival is an SV. The SV Autobiography Long Wheelbase stands as the pinnacle of the Land Rover lineage. In a secluded exhibition hall within the dealership, a commanding Tiger King was stationed silently. The primary hue of this SV Autobiography was a deep black, complemented by a champagne color. This particular shade, if not well executed, could easily appear rather garish. Yet on this luxurious-themed SV, Subin perceived only elegance and dominance. Beyond its striking exterior, Subin was equally impressed by the vehicle's performance. The 4.4L V8 engine endowed this behemoth with tremendous power, with over 600 horsepower roaring beneath the hood. This 3-ton marvel could achieve 100 kilometers per hour in a mere 5 seconds. The imposing exterior alone satisfied Subin, while the extreme opulence of the interior further intensified his desire to purchase. The lavish details of the interior spoke for themselves. The fact that the seats could be adjusted in 24 different ways was enough to elicit his satisfaction. To Subin, even with a yoga pants-clad companion, there would be no sense of confinement in this expansive space. With just a glance at the vehicle, Subin knew it was destined to be his. As the saleswoman, Wei Wei, began to elaborate on the features, Subin interjected, "This is the one. Prepare the contract and let us proceed with the payment." His decisive words rendered Wei Wei momentarily speechless. While she had encountered wealthy buyers before, this was her first experience with a young, affluent client who inquired not about the price. "Sir, the base price for this vehicle is $358,000, and it is equipped with top-tier features. Along with I am aware, it requires an additional payment. Let us proceed with the transaction." In the cutthroat automotive market of 2024, the Land Rover Range Rover was among the few vehicles commanding a premium price. Nonetheless, Subin had developed an affinity for the SV Autobiography Long Wheelbase before him. Upon hearing Wei Wei's final quote nearing $5 million, Subin calmly retrieved his bank card. At that moment, he aspired to become a heartless machine for swiping cards. Having experienced the swift profitability of the stellar real estate sales champion card, Subin had begun to regard money with a certain indifference. Moreover, he was now inclined towards a form of retaliatory spending, having previously been overly stringent with himself. It was time for Subin to indulge a little. As he produced his bank card, he transformed into the true VIP of the dealership. Once escorted to the lounge, Wei Wei thoughtfully presented him with a cup of hand-brewed coffee. It seemed that if Subin merely cast a glance, Wei Wei would not hesitate to offer him imported coffee. However, noticing Subin's reluctance to request a taste of the imported brew, she patiently awaited his cue. The alluring saleswoman, with an enticing figure, crouched beside Subin, elucidating certain nuances regarding the SV. Wei Wei was acutely aware that anyone capable of purchasing a Range Rover SV without a moment's hesitation was certainly not an individual of ordinary means. Her intention was straightforward: to cultivate a connection with this potential client. It would be even more delightful if she could don yoga pants and occupy the passenger seat beside Subin. Engaging in conversation with a beautiful companion certainly elevated Subin's spirits. He discerned the underlying motives of the saleswoman. If the atmosphere felt right, he would not hesitate to offer her a passenger experience card. Such playful exchanges were merely part of his experiences. Wei Wei, Mr. Su's contract has been organized. Please take a look, came a voice. After apologizing, Wei Wei stepped aside. As Su Bin admired her retreating figure, he gently lifted his coffee cup. Just as the cup approached his lips, a sudden and forceful slap on his shoulder startled him, accompanied by a pungent odor of sweat. "Dog Bin, it really is you," exclaimed the intruder, causing Su Bin to nearly spill his coffee. Turning to glance at the source of the interruption, he frowned. The man before him appeared to be in his 40s, with greasy hair and unkempt stubble, exuding an air of disarray. The sight of this individual extinguished Su Bin's earlier thoughts of Wei Wei and yoga pants. This person was Su Fushan, Su Bin's uncle, the younger brother of Su Fusen. Su Bin's father, Su Fusen, had two other brothers. The eldest, Su Fuhai, was in his 50s and had been incarcerated for intentional injury. The second brother was Su Fusen, while the one before him was Su Fushan. The three brothers of the Su family were hardly paragons of virtue. Su Fuhai was a notorious ruffian, while Su Fusen and his wife, Lu Hohad, spent their...
Hello everyone, welcome to another tutorial video. Today I'm going to show you how to disable or turn off the Discord overlay, or the in-game Discord overlay. So basically what you want to do is open up Discord. So if you don't see it here, you may see it in the system tray if you are on a PC, and then just go to your apps if you're on a Mac. And then open that up there, and then open up the Discord application. And then once you're here, what you want to do is go down to where you see the gear icon here where it says User Settings. If we click on the option there that says User Settings, we want to go over to the sidebar, and we want to look at something that says Game Overlay. So if we go to Game Overlay, it's going to let you know currently how you have it set up. Do you have the avatar size set as large or small? Where do you have the positioning on your screen? And you can change those things by just selecting and clicking around here. But what you want to do is go up here to where you see Enable In-Game Overlay and just uncheck that. Basically, that will uncheck that and you are good to go. Now you will not be getting any annoying in-game notifications from Discord. And if you ever want to come back and enable this or re-enable this, you go back to where I, just basically play in here. You have it set up. Do you
Why do I not see that? What?
Do you have the avatar size set as large or small? Where do you have the positioning on your screen? And you can change those things by just selecting and clicking around here. But what you want to do is go up here to where you see Enable In-Game Overlay and just uncheck that. Basically, that will uncheck that and you are good to go. Now you will not be getting any annoying in-game notifications from Discord, and if you ever want to come back and enable this or re-enable this, you go back to where I just basically showed you guys here under Game Overlay, under Settings, and then just check that where it is enabled, just like that there, and then you are good to go. If you have any questions about how to do this on Discord, please put that in the comment section down below. I've got a ton more Discord tutorials that I will link down below if that's something that you need. If you want to do
their days gambling. As for Su Fushan, he was the epitome of an ne'er-do-well, lazy and unambitious. Over the years, Su Bin had often been extorted for money by this uncle. Without regard for Su Bin's consent, Su Fushan plopped down directly across from him. Grabbing the coffee Su Bin had set down, he slurped it down. Disgusting. Dog Bin, from outside, you look just like yourself, but coming in, it truly is you. Are you here just to drink coffee? Ah ha ha. Now that we've met, hand over 1,000 yuan. I haven't eaten lunch yet. Su Bin, observing the shameless Su Fushan, chuckled. Su Fushan, you must have heard about my estrangement from the Su family, right? How can you still dare to ask me for money? His mother, Lu Hohat, was known for her loose lips. The news of Su Bin severing ties with his family would have spread far and wide. It was likely that in Lu Hohat's tales, Su Bin was painted as an unfilial son. Picking his nose, Su Fushan flicked out a booger and disdainfully remarked, "What does that have to do with me? Just hurry up and give me the money. Let me tell you, Dog Bin, severing ties means nothing. The law doesn't till you recognize it. In the future, not only will you need to support your parents, but you'll also have to support me. And look at you, strutting around here drinking coffee. Can you even afford this car? It's worth more than your life." The unscrupulous demeanor of Su Fushan repulsed Su Bin to no end. Just as Su Bin was about to summon the security, Wei Wei approached. Upon reaching Su Bin's side, Wei Wei too was overwhelmed by the stench. However, her commendable professionalism kept her expression unchanged. Uncertain of the relationship between this man and Su Bin, Wei Wei softly remarked, "Mr. Su, the contract is ready. We can proceed with the signing." Her words left Su Fushan momentarily stunned. In an instant, his demeanor shifted. The previous fade of a rogue transformed into a beaming smile, and the barking ceased. "Nephew, you've struck it rich. You've truly purchased a Land Rover. Ha ha. Our Su family is producing talents." As he spoke, Su Fushan attempted to drape his arm around Su Bin's shoulders. Su Bin, however, deftly evaded him. "What does this have to do with you? Miss Wei Wei, please escort this individual out." Witnessing Su Bin's icy demeanor, Su Fushan's defiance surged. "What a pompous display. Everyone, come and see. This man is Su Bin. Now that he's wealthy, he forgets his kin. He doesn't even recognize his third uncle. Look at this ungrateful wretch." While shouting, Su Fushan pointed at Su Bin, declaring, "Su Bin, today you must buy me a Land Rover. And give me 50,000, no, 20,000. Otherwise, you shall not leave. Just see how I can make your life miserable." As he spoke, Su Fushan lunged forward to grasp Su Bin's leg. But the security personnel from the dealership had already arrived. At Wei Wei's signal, they moved to escort Su Fushan away. Upon seeing the security approach, Su Fushan dramatically collapsed to the ground, rolling about. "They're attacking. The dealership is assaulting me. I'm done for. They'll kill me." His commotion drew the attention of surrounding customers, and Wei Wei's expression soured. Just then, a voice akin to that of a sloth rang out. "What is all this racket? You are driving us mad." Chapter 12. Our specialty is dealing with extortionist Yuzuki was in a rather foul mood. Her brief stay in Jingzhou had been plagued with misfortunes. She felt as though this place was cursed for her. Just a few days prior, she had nearly purchased a haunted villa, and today, while intending to buy a car at the Land Rover dealership, she found that the last vehicle had already been sold. To make matters worse, a boorish man was creating a scene. Frustrated, Yuzuki couldn't help but shout out. Her exclamation caught the attention of Su Bin, who then noticed her. "Hey, buddy," she called out, hastening over to him, clad in a trendy white outfit topped with a cap. She stood on tiptoe to tap him on the shoulder. "What a coincidence running into you here." Su Bin felt the coincidence as well. "Hello, miss you." "Miss? I'm not fond of that. Just call me Chier or Chi-Chi. What brings you here?" Yuzuki felt a sense of gratitude towards Su Bin. Had he not appeared, she would have wasted considerable time verifying whether that villa was indeed haunted. Moreover, Su Bin was quite the striking figure, which made him rather pleasant to encounter. Sometimes, a handsome face can indeed serve as a charming introduction. "I came to pick up a car, you." "Chi-Chi, now that is more like it. We're both young, let us not be so formal." "Wait, you're here to pick up a car? Did you get that SV? You certainly spend your earnings boldly." Seeing Su Bin nod, Yuzuki sighed in resignation. Su Bin, perceptive as ever, could easily discern that she had failed to acquire the car. He was keen on establishing a connection with this seemingly carefree character. At that moment, Su Bin was not lacking in means to earn money, but he was indeed in one of a network. "I haven't signed the contract yet. Perhaps you should go first?" "Never mind. A gentleman does not take what belongs to others. I can wait a few more days. I must tell you, my father does not allow me to drive sports cars. I feel awkward even sitting in that Rolls-Royce van. Those of us in the coal mining business prefer larger vehicles, and among them, I have a particular fondness for Land Rovers." Yuzuki seemed to be quite the chatterbox, her words flowing without pause. Meanwhile, Su Fushan, lying on the ground, was nearly hoarse from shouting, yet no one paid him any heed. After a lengthy discourse, Yuzuki finally noticed the commotion caused by Su Fushan. "What is going on here?" "Just a rogue," came the reply. "Just toss him out. The security here is truly unprofessional." "Uncle Nyo, Uncle Ma, The two bodyguards flanking Yuzuki, both around 40 and impressively built, sprang into action. With remarkable agility, they seized Su Fushan and unceremoniously ejected him from the premises. Su Fushan, naturally defiant, attempted to re-enter but was met with a wall of security at the entrance. Finding his path blocked, he spat in frustration and stalked away from the dealership, though not too far. With the nuisance gone, Yuzuki cheerfully remarked, "I was feeling rather down today, but running into you has brightened my spirits." The moment we laid eyes on each other, a bond was formed. Shall we find a place to enjoy a drink later? There are plenty of lovely ladies around. Su-bin harbored intentions of befriending Yuzuki. Upon hearing her words, he chuckled and replied, "Since I've taken your car, it's only fitting that I make the arrangements. We're brothers, after all. Hurry and sign the contract. I'll be waiting for you." The efficiency of the dealership was commendable, and soon Su-bin completed all necessary procedures. Simultaneously, a fully fueled Range Rover SV autobiography long wheelbase awaited him at the entrance. Yuzuki's arrival extinguished Su-bin's desire to teach Wei Wei how to wear yoga pants. Knowing how to balance networking with a stylish choice, Su-bin made a prudent decision. As they exited the dealership, Yuzuki bounced over to Su-bin's vehicle and exclaimed, "I prefer riding in larger cars. Old Su, let me tell you, my family's truck is even bigger than this one." She animatedly gestured as she spoke. With their conversation flowing, Su-bin and Yuzuki gradually drove onto the road. Su-bin had spent a staggering $98 million on this luxurious vehicle, part of which was a markup. The sensation of driving a $5 million super SUV was unparalleled. Since they had not yet left the commercial district, Su-bin maintained a moderate speed. While driving, he engaged Yuzuki in conversation. "Chi-Chi, does your family run a coal mine? If you ever need coal, you can count on me. And if work isn't going well, you're welcome at my place. You're charming enough to be our PR manager." Su-bin chuckled at the thought of being a male PR representative for a coal company. "Thank you. If I ever find myself unemployed, I'll definitely ask you for a job. How do I get to that clubhouse?" "No problem. Just turn right at the upcoming intersection." At the corner, Su Fushan, with his squinting triangular eyes, spotted the approaching Range Rover SV with astonishment. Su-bin's sudden affluence took him by surprise, yet it solidified his resolve to extract a hefty toll from Su-bin. Su Fushan's dubious identity was merely a side hustle. His primary occupation involved staging accidents for compensation. This intersection was a premeditated site for his schemes, as the car needed to slow down to navigate the turn. Su Fushan aimed to avoid any real danger. Just as Su-bin's vehicle was about to make the turn, Su Fushan sprang out unexpectedly. Inside the car, Yuzuki continued to rave about the attractive girls at the clubhouse. Out of the corner of her eye, she noticed a figure darting towards them like a wild dog. "Watch out." Both Yuzuki and Su-bin spotted the figure. Su-bin slammed the brakes, bringing the car to a halt, and shifted to park. With a clear line of sight, he could distinctly see Su Fushan sprawled on the ground, a good 3 meters away from their vehicle. Observing Su Fushan, Su-bin couldn't help but smile. However, as the laughter faded, his eyes reddened. Wasn't he this the scoundrel who wouldn't go away? He contemplated calling Uncle Myo and Uncle Ma to give him a good beating. Yuzuki also felt a tinge of anger. She was happily boasting with Su-bin when suddenly, out of nowhere, this incident arose. There was no need to consider. It was undoubtedly a case of extortion. Just as Yuzuki was about to call the bodyguards in the back to confront the situation, she suddenly heard the roar of an SV engine. In that instant, Yuzuki felt the tires of the car spinning in place, while Su-bin had already pressed the accelerator to the floor. One of his hands swiftly switched to the drive mode, then rested on the P gear. If Su-bin pressed the P gear, the car would undoubtedly surge forward. In that moment, Yuzuki felt a surge of panic. "Old Su, what are you doing? I'm going to run him over. Let's see if this guy fears for his life." At that moment, Yuzuki distinctly noticed the redness in Su-bin's eyes. As a member of the post-2000 generation, she had heard her father speak of individuals who possessed an insatiable thirst for violence. Once their eyes turned red, they could commit any act. Looking at Su-bin before her, Yuzuki sensed impending disaster. As Su-bin's hand hovered perilously close to pressing the P gear, she swiftly placed her delicate hand over his. Uncertain if it was due to her own coldness, Su-bin felt a chilling sensation the moment Yuzuki grasped his hand. "Buddy, we don't need to go this far. Is it really necessary to handle him with such severity? You're still young. Please don't tread down the path of crime. Causing a fatal accident can lead to severe consequences. It's just a case of extortion, after all. We are more than capable of dealing with such deceit." Chapter 13. abundant nutritional solution. Yuzuki was genuinely taken aback by Su-bin. She held a favorable impression of him. In her eyes, Su-bin embodied a refined and gentle demeanor. No one would have anticipated the violent side lurking within him. Yet, inexplicably, Yuzuki found herself somewhat admiring Su-bin, experiencing a primitive allure. At that moment, she sensed an inexplicable sexual tension emanating from him. Nevertheless, despite her thoughts, Yuzuki's actions were swift. With remarkable agility, she turned off the car engine and declared, "Stay right here. We shall procure some oranges." "Apologies. I have a habit of taking advantage. We shall handle this for you." As she exited the vehicle, Uncle Nyo and Uncle Ma, who were in the back, followed suit. By now, a crowd of onlookers had gathered, pointing and whispering among themselves. Approaching the wailing Su Fushan, Yuzuki delivered a kick to his shin. The moment her foot connected, tears streamed down Su Fushan's face from the pain. "Oh, murder, murder. I told you to be quiet. We relish dealing with scoundrels like you playing the victim, are we? Let me escort you to the hospital. I will ensure you understand the consequences of such deceit." As she spoke, Yuzuki retrieved her phone. "Uncle Sure, aren't you the director of the second hospital? Dispatch an ambulance too." The ambulance from Jingzhou's second hospital arrived faster than the traffic police. At this point, Su-bin had regained his composure. For a fleeting moment, he had genuinely contemplated running Su Fushan over. However, he understood that Su Fushan would surely evade him. Observing Yuzuki escorting Su Fushan to the hospital, Su-bin was uncertain of her intentions. Yet, upon hearing her conversation with the doctor, he gasped in astonishment. This girl was indeed ruthless. "Uncle Sure, administer nutritional solutions to this fellow for half a month, along with glucose and saline. He shall not receive a single morsel of food, not even a grain of rice. Arrange for all necessary CT and MRI scans, and draw blood daily." Su-bin possessed a modicum of medical knowledge. He understood the discomfort a normal person would endure from such prolonged nutritional treatment, let alone with additional protocols. Yuzuki was thoroughly determined to make Su Fushan's life miserable. Furthermore, fearing Su Fushan might escape, she arranged for someone to keep watch over him. On the 10th day of receiving the nutritional solution, Su Fushan could no longer endure the torment. Residing on the 3rd floor, one night he leapt from the window, resulting in a fractured leg. Yuzuki's actions undeniably provided Su-bin with a sense of satisfaction. As he observed the sprightly Yuzuki approaching, Su-bin suddenly realized that she merely resembled a tomboy. Standing at an impressive height of around 1.67 meters, Yuzuki possessed a delicately small and refined face. Without makeup, she appeared akin to a high school student, blessed with a naturally youthful visage. At the age of 22, Yuzuki bore the countenance of a mere 14-year-old. Moreover, Yuzuki possesses an exquisite neck. Su-bin, having encountered countless individuals, perceived that if Yuzuki were to don long hair and feminine attire, she would undoubtedly be a stunning beauty. However, as his gaze drifted downward, Su-bin's spirits plummeted. This was purely a brotherly bond. "All right, enough of that. We, as brothers, will stand up for you," he said to Yuzuki with utmost sincerity. "Thank you," she replied. "No need for formalities. In Jingzhou, we have few friends. Are you not my friend?" Su-bin continued. "I heard someone refer to you as nephew. What is the story behind that?" With a sigh, he gestured towards the staircase nearby. "Let us converse over there." Seated on the steps of the staircase, Su-bin appeared somewhat dejected. Sensing his mood, Yuzuki retrieved a cigarette from his pocket and said, "Have a smoke to calm your nerves. Take your time to share." As he smoked, Su-bin recounted his experiences over the years. The two conversed as if they were longtime friends,
dungeon run.
with Su-bin speaking and Yuzuki listening intently. Unbeknownst to them, half a pack of cigarettes had been consumed, and it was now Yuzuki's turn to share her thoughts. Are they even human? How could anyone treat their own child like that? Do they even consider you a person? Is this truly how a biological parent behaves? Yuzuki, with her innocent and vibrant nature, found it hard to digest Su-bin's words. Having grown up in a nurturing environment, she never fathomed that biological parents could act in such a manner. Who could have anticipated that? Fortunately, I am liberated now. It infuriates me. If this were in Hushi, I would have someone demolish their house with a bulldozer. How utterly exasperating. Observing the indignant Yuzuki, Su-bin managed to smile. "All right, it's all in the past. What are your plans for the future?" "I am preparing to establish a real estate company. I cannot simply live off my previous endeavors," she replied. "Very well. I shall support you when you launch your business," Su-bin said, touched by Yuzuki's efforts to comfort him. Here was a child of a coal tycoon and the daughter of a wealthy family. both standing by him, offering solace and support. In that moment, Su Bin felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Thank you, Chi-Chi. Meanwhile, in the Su household, Su Fusen looked at his son Su Yaozu, who was sprawled on the sofa. Son, have you been unable to reach Xinyu? Su Yuzu, scrolling through Douyin, yawned repeatedly, appearing lethargic. With dark circles under his eyes as if he hadn't slept in days. I can't get in touch with that wretched woman. She is resolute in her desire for a divorce. I wonder who has filled her head with nonsense. She has quit her job, her parents have moved. And now she is nowhere to be found. If I find her, I will end her. Su Fusen, listening to Su Yaozu's grievances, remained unfazed. A divorce might be beneficial. Remember, the debts incurred are from your business dealings, and she will share in those liabilities. Su Yuzu refrained from responding. What Su Fusen was unaware of was that Su Yaozu's debts were not from business losses, but rather a staggering 8 million in gambling debts. For years, Su Yaozu had been ensnared in various forms of illicit gambling, while outwardly presenting himself as a businessman. Having won, Su Yaozu proclaimed his profits. In the event of losses, he lamented his misfortunes. This time, the financial abyss had become insurmountable, prompting him to confess to his family that he was in debt to the tune of 1,500,000. In truth, this sum represented merely the accrued interest. Had Su Bin indeed assumed the gambling debts, it is conceivable that the family would have resorted to extreme measures against him. Su Yuzu deliberately chose to disregard Su Fusen's inquiries. Father, is there still no way to reach Su Bin? No. He has blocked me, and I cannot contact him even with a new number. With a calculated glance, Su Yaozu stifled a yawn and remarked, Father, we must find a way to reach Su Bin. That fellow has a knack for making money. Indeed, you make a valid point. I shall go to his shop and confront him. I will leave at once. Very well. I shall await your return. As Su Fusen exited the house, Su Yaozu promptly secured the door. He then made his way to a guest room, retrieving a syringe. Chapter 14. The new identity card turns out to be. El Jiala felt particularly unfortunate. Initially, he did not believe that Su Bin's departure would have any significant impact on Jiala real estate. After all, it was merely the loss of a top salesperson. However, El Jiala severely underestimated the influence a top salesperson could have on a business. This setback struck directly at the company's lifeblood. Su Bin had a plethora of clients, and with his departure, business at Jiala real estate dwindled significantly. While Su Bin's resignation did affect the business, it was not catastrophic. A top salesperson could be nurtured over time. To make matters worse, another of El Jiala's top salespeople was injured, prompting him to summon Tian Wenba back to work, despite his injuries. The brother-in-law was someone who could be exploited by his sister's husband, provided the latter was financially stable. The combination of these two unfortunate events was already enough to trouble El Jiala. To his dismay, he learned through indirect channels that Su Bin had sold the infamous property known as Longlin Wuyue. At that moment, El Jiala felt a profound sense of regret. Had he retained Su Bin, that profit would have been his. Unfortunately, regret is a commodity that cannot be purchased, and all El Jiala could do was lament his choices. In the office, he was preoccupied with the recent performance figures when an employee knocked and entered. Boss, Su Bin's father is here. Su Bin's father? What does he want? Tell him I'm not in. Understood, boss. El Jiala sometimes found himself curious about how someone as capable as Su Bin could have such an eccentric father. When Su Yaozu got married, Su Fusen had the audacity to come to the store to distribute invitations without offering any wedding sweets. El Jiala had begrudgingly spent 500 yuan as a gift, only to be criticized by Su Fusen for being stingy, given that he was a substantial business owner. If it weren't for Su Bin's outstanding performance at that time, El Jiala would have been tempted to curse. El Jiala had no desire to see Su Fusen, yet paradoxically, the more one wishes to avoid someone, the more they tend to appear. Before long, the office door swung open. You young man never speaks the truth. Isn't El Boss right here? Hello, El Boss. Staring at the grinning Su Fusen, El Jiala was taken aback. All right, you can leave. I need to talk with El Boss. With that, Su Fusen casually took a seat across from El Jiala. On El Jiala's desk lay a pack of Zhonghua cigarettes, meant for gifting. He usually did not smoke. Observing the unopened pack, Su Fusen promptly tore it open. There are no cigarettes left, El Boss. I'll take one. Although he claimed he would take one. Su Fusen stuffed the entire pack into his pocket instead. Noticing Su Fusen's fixation on the cigarettes, El Jiala quickly placed them in a drawer and locked it. Do you have something to discuss? El Jiala's tone was far from welcoming, yet Su Fusen remained unfazed. It's like this, El Boss. I would like to link my dog Bin's salary card to my own. You must be due for your salary soon. I recall it is on the 15th. So kindly remit it directly to me. By the way, where has Go been gone? Su Fusen's words elicited a laugh from El Jala. If El Jala were to have parents like that, he would have run away from home long ago. El Jala possesses many minor flaws, yet at this moment, he felt a tinge of sympathy for Su Bin. Have you not severed ties? Seek him out yourself. The petulant words of a child can hardly be taken seriously. Even severed relationships hold no legal weight. Boss L, could you please give Go Bin a call? I have matters to discuss with him. He has resigned, and I cannot locate him either. If you have no urgent matters, I must get back to work. Resigned? What about his salary? It has been issued. I do not believe you. Please provide me with Go Bin's salary from last month. Observing Su Fusen on the verge of throwing a tantrum, El Jiala calmly retrieved his phone and swiftly dialed 3 digits, Yao Yao Ling. I am not your son. Should you dare to act recklessly, I will contact the authorities. Watching as El Jiala's finger hovered over the button, Su Fusen wilted. You. Not a single boss is worth a dime. Just wait and see. As he watched Su Fusen's departing figure, El Jiala cursed under his breath. What a piece of work. To be fair, El Jiala indeed acted with loyalty this time, as he refrained from disclosing Su Bin's profitable ventures. While El Jiala harbored grievances against Su Bin, he found Su Fusen far more irksome. Though El Jiala kept Su Bin's affairs private, he could not escape the presence of ill-intentioned individuals. When Tian Wenba limped back into the company, he happened upon an irate Su Fusen. Tian Wenba's injuries were not severe. Ma Shu and Niu Shu were known for their ferocity. These 2 professional bodyguards would not strike according to the standards of a freight car full of coal. The extent of the beating was far from lethal. However, Tian Wenba would certainly endure some pain for several days. He pulled an employee aside to inquire about the situation. Upon learning that Su Fusen had come to find Su Bin, a nefarious idea took root in Tian Wenba's mind. He was seething with resentment towards Su Bin. Without him, he would not have been subjected to such a beating. Limping, Tian Wenba pursued him. Su Shu, wait a moment. The Su residence. In a euphoric state, Su Yuzu heard the sound of a door opening. After kicking the syringe beneath the bed, Su Yaozu had barely made it out when Su Fusen burst in. Su Fusen appeared even more exhilarated than Su Yaozu. Grasping Su Yaozu's shoulders, Su Fusen fervently declared, Son, our family is about to strike it rich. Go Bin has earned several million. We are on the verge of prosperity. Upon hearing Su Fusen's words, Su Yaozu's eyes sparkled with excitement. Following the incident with Su Fushan and the car accident, Su Bin and Yuziki had solidified their friendship. In the days that followed, Su Bin began to initiate plans for a new company. Deep down, Su Bin understood that befriending affluent individuals like Yuziki and Jiang Shi was one aspect. His own capabilities were equally crucial. Without a career, he could not hold his head high among friends. With this thought in mind, Su Bin felt a surge of motivation. He was a man of action. Driving his luxurious Range Rover, valued at 5 million, Su Bin arrived and departed with a flourish each day. Over the course of several days, he successfully resolved the issue of office space while also placing orders for office equipment. Meanwhile, the recruitment efforts led by Tian Tian and Wang Yang were progressing smoothly. Tian Tian managed to secure a total of 30 elite sales professionals for Su Bin, including not only the exceptional talents from Jialu Real Estate but also several nominal agents, among whom were 3 top sales champions. Wang Yang, on the other hand, recruited 10 skilled real estate clerks, along with a few dedicated administrative staff. The framework of a real estate company was thus taking shape. Currently, Su Bin was awaiting assistance from Wang Qi to finalize the necessary paperwork, while simultaneously organizing the newly leased storefront. The shop Su Bin had rented was situated near the bustling pedestrian street, Jin Street, in Jingzhou, a lively area indeed. This storefront, a street-facing establishment, spanned over 800 square meters across 2 levels. Logically, with Su Bin's resources, there was no need to establish his business in an excessively busy location. However, he had his own vision. For his new company, Mars Real Estate, Su Bin aimed to create a brand that would resonate. Opening the inaugural store in a remote area would not quite convey the intended image. Furthermore, with ample funds at his disposal, he felt emboldened to make bold decisions. Nevertheless, during this period, Su Bin was acutely aware that embarking on a venture was indeed a costly endeavor. On the afternoon of July 13th, Su Bin was at the shop, awaiting the delivery of the office computers he had purchased. As he sat there, feeling somewhat bored, a sudden notification echoed in his mind. A new card draw cycle has arrived. Please make your selection, host. Upon hearing the system's prompt, Su Bin's eyes lit up. However, Upon revealing 5 identity cards, he found himself momentarily stunned. This seemed rather peculiar, didn't it? The new identity cards Chapter 15. Underwater concealment for 7 days and nights, living off fish, shrimp, and crab upon activating 5 identity cards. A brilliant light flashed within the system. Soon, Subin's system displayed his current host level, level 1. Identity card refresh probability, 75 black iron, 15 bronze, 9 silver, 1 gold. Leveling up will enhance these probabilities. Opting out of the periodic card pool allows for energy accumulation, which can improve card refresh probabilities. Current energy value, 0.20. Experience points, 1.6. Each gold coin can be exchanged for 1 experience point. 1 experience point is earned with each card refresh cycle. Gold coins, 5. At the start of this cycle, 5 gold coins can be acquired each period. Gold coins may be used to purchase experience points, refresh the identity card pool, or upgrade identity cards. Opting out of the periodic card pool allows for the exchange of gold, black iron card for 1 coin, bronze card for 2 coins, silver card for 3 coins, gold card for 4 coins, platinum card for 5 coins, purple gold card for 6 coins, diamond card for 7 coins, and emerald card for 8 coins. Note: additional system features will be available after leveling up. New functionalities will unlock upon reaching level 3. In principle, the first identity cards received by Subin constituted a novice package. Now, the true identity card refresh had commenced. After briefly reviewing the basic information, Subin opened the 5 identity cards within the pool. Provincial level culinary master identity card, skill-based identity card, black iron level, upgradable, 1 gold coin required for upgrade. By claiming this identity card, the host will automatically unlock the skill of provincial level Huayang cuisine master. Provincial level public relations young master identity card, business-oriented identity card, black iron level, upgradable. This identity card will enhance the host's understanding of women, identifying him as the master of the realm in southern Jiangsu. County level fan free novel network tycoon identity card, wealth-based identity card, black iron level, non-upgradable. This tycoon possesses a modest fortune, with this card containing 10,000 recharge tokens for fan free novel network. National singing and dancing champion identity card, business-oriented identity card, bronze level, upgradable, 3 gold coins required for upgrade. Activating this identity card will grant the host singing and dancing capabilities. Note: wearing overalls enhances the effect. Additional note: you are essentially a rapper. Initially, Subin was filled with joy, anticipating grand rewards from the system. However, the results were indeed substantial, yet they were rather underwhelming. The 4 identity cards before him did not appeal to him at all, especially the wealth-based card. 10,000 recharge tokens paled in comparison to the warmth offered by those who selflessly supported him out of love. Just as Subin contemplated relinquishing the identity cards to accumulate energy, his attention was drawn to the final identity card. This was the gold identity card. Upon laying eyes on the gold identity card, Subin finally understood why the previous card seemed like a jest. It became apparent that this round was a stroke of luck. The power of the gold identity card was evident from his own stellar real estate sales champion card. Upon encountering the name on this golden identity card, Subin was utterly astonished. Wang Li by Qiao Zhang Shun card, character type identity card. Level, gold, non-upgradable. Note: effects of the identity card can be viewed after acquisition. Without a moment's hesitation, Subin chose this character type identity card, as a gold card undoubtedly promised excellence. He maintained a fundamental trust in the system. A radiant golden light enveloped him, revealing the complete details of the identity card. Wang Li by Qiao Zhang Shun card. The host will possess all the abilities of the renowned General Zhang Shun from Water Margin. Aquatic skill. The host can remain submerged for 7 days and nights, consuming fish, shrimp, and crabs raw, unaffected by water pressure. Combat prowess. The host has acquired knife fighting techniques and rudimentary hand-to-hand skills. Note: the host's combat power increases tenfold underwater. Navigation of non-motorized boats. The host can row a boat without oars, relying solely on the waves. Ding. The host has received the identity card. Current issuance date: July 13th, 2024. Next issuance date: July 20th. Please take note. As the golden light flickered within the system, Subin felt a jolt throughout his body. In that fleeting moment, he sensed himself transforming into a fish. Various swimming and diving skills flooded his mind, including combat techniques for underwater warfare. Previously a landlubber, Su Bin now yearned to swim a couple of laps in the Yangtze River. To Su Bin, this golden identity card seemed almost otherworldly. The swimming and diving skills were impressive, and the combat abilities were commendable. However, the prospect of remaining submerged for 7 days without being affected by pressure was somewhat daunting. Was this perhaps a form of celestial magic? Suddenly, Su Bin recalled that in Water Margin, Zhang Shun was also a formidable figure granted divine status posthumously. Overall, Su Bin was quite pleased with this week's identity card. Setting aside the extraordinary aquatic prowess, the enhancement of his physical abilities was remarkable. Su Bin felt that his endurance had elevated significantly and his strength had increased considerably. His previously modest muscle definition had transformed into a streamlined physique. Stealing a glance, he discovered he had developed an impressive six-pack. While Zhang Shun's terrestrial combat skills may have been lacking, he would undoubtedly pose a challenge to 10 or 8 ordinary men. Su Bin had acquired a preliminary capacity for self-defense. At that moment, he resembled a child with a new toy, eagerly anticipating the opportunity to test the power of this identity card. Engaging in physical confrontations was out of the question, as Su Bin lacked the resources and influence of Yuzuki's family. Nonetheless, testing his newfound aquatic abilities seemed entirely feasible. Observing that dusk was approaching, Su Bin called out to the store, "Yang Yan." Shortly thereafter, Wang Yang emerged, having been tidying up. "What is the matter, master? I need to step out for a bit. When I return, please take care of the office computer, and then you can clock out. I'll treat you to Starbucks tomorrow." "Understood, master. But I prefer Snow King over Starbucks." After giving his instructions, Su Bin drove his Range Rover SV to the nearby Deiji Plaza, where a specialty store for diving equipment awaited. The system described the effects of this card as remarkably enchanting. However, Su Bin remained hesitant to take any risks. Initially, he intended to visit a swimming pool to test it out. Yet, upon considering the surveillance cameras present, he abandoned that notion. Within Jingzhou, numerous water systems abound. With the Yangtze River flowing through the region, Su Bin resolved to directly confront a more challenging endeavor. Upon arriving at a specialty diving equipment store, he procured a wetsuit, oxygen tank, ropes, diving knife, and various other essential gear. He also requested the staff to instruct him on the usage of these instruments. As someone unacquainted with aquatic activities, this was Su Bin's inaugural experience with such equipment. Once he had mastered the operation of the diving apparatus, he departed the city as twilight descended. Being in the urban area proved inconvenient, and the banks of the Yangtze River occasionally witnessed leisurely strolls. The location Su Bin sought was a secluded wild beach beyond the city limits, where the desolation stretched for 5 kilometers, devoid of any streetlights. In the shadowy night, the distant Yangtze loomed ominously dark, appearing somewhat intimidating. Yet, as Su Bin gazed upon the river before him, an inexplicable sense of belonging washed over him. Just as he prepared to change into his gear within the confines of his vehicle, his phone suddenly rang. Upon glancing at the caller ID, Su Bin was momentarily taken aback. It was Kai Xia, the affluent lady. Was she perhaps looking to sell another property? Swiftly, Su Bin answered the call. "Hello, Sister Kai. How are you?" "Hello, dear. I hope I'm not interrupting anything." "Not at all, Sister Kai. Please, feel free to let me know what you require." As a wealthy woman who had helped him earn 50 million, Su Bin greatly cherished his dealings with Kai Xia. "You see, my dear, I noticed that your company offers information consulting services, and I would like to enlist your assistance." Chapter 16. No one can bully me in the water, Sister Kai. Are you looking to sell or purchase a residence? Rest assured, I possess first-hand information regarding real estate transactions throughout Jingzhou. I guarantee you will be satisfied with the prices. Su Bin's modesty belied the truth. His knowledge extended far beyond Jingzhou. In southern Jiangsu, across the nation, and indeed, worldwide, there was no property listing he was unaware of. If Mars had a real estate market, Su Bin would undoubtedly oversee it. It is not a matter of buying a house. Rather, I wish to select an antique as a gift for an elder relative's birthday. Your ability to connect with the heir of a southern Jiangsu electrical tycoon speaks volumes about your network. I kindly request your assistance in keeping an eye out for individuals looking to part with antiques. The starting price should be in the tens of millions, the more exquisite, the better, with no upper limit. Brother, if you come across any leads, please do inform me. I assure you, sister will not forget your kindness. Kai Shiya's words momentarily startled Su Bin. The antique industry was unfamiliar territory for him. Without the credentials to bolster his status as a treasure seeker, he would refrain from pursuing this endeavor. After all, selling antiques could prove far more lucrative than dealing in real estate. After some contemplation, Su Bin replied, "Sister Kai, I will do my utmost to inquire, but I cannot offer any guarantees. That is fine. I am casting a wide net. A friend has recommended several antique dealers, but their offerings do not quite appeal to me. Do you have any specific criteria? Exquisite. I seek only the finest treasures. Understood, Sister Kai. I will take note and contact you immediately with any updates. Thank you, little brother. After hanging up, Subin did not dwell on the conversation. He was well aware that the likelihood of earning the commission was slim. The two affluent individuals he knew were Jiang Shi and Yu Ziki. Yet he was not intimate enough with either to solicit their interest in antiques. He resolved to ask Wang Qi for assistance later and proceeded to don his diving gear. Subin purchased an extensive length of diving rope. Once the rope was secured, he equipped himself with an oxygen tank and plunged into the Yangtze River. A flicker of doubt lingered in his heart. If this golden card failed to allow him to remain submerged for 7 consecutive days and nights, the oxygen tank would be his lifeline. The rope and tank served as his safety net. However, once submerged, Subin's eyes sparkled with wonder. At that moment, he experienced the profound sensation of being in his element. Underwater, he swam with remarkable speed, even outpacing several fish. Tentatively, he removed the oxygen tank. To his astonishment, he felt no adverse effects. Although he could not breathe underwater, the oxygen stored in his lungs felt as though it had been concentrated. Moreover, his physical prowess beneath the surface far surpassed his terrestrial capabilities. In addition to these extraordinary phenomena, Subin discovered that he could discern everything within a 30-meter radius with crystal clarity. At that moment, he began to comprehend why Zhang Shun was deified after his death. This was the power of the divine. The Yangtze River has long been a vital waterway. Surely, it harbors numerous sunken vessels. Perhaps fortune will smile upon me. Once assured of the flawless functionality of the golden identity card, Subin confidently untied the ropes and plunged into the depths of the Yangtze River. To be frank, he was eager to earn the wealth of Kai Xia, the affluent lady. Establishing a rapport with such a lucrative client was of paramount importance to him. Historically, Jingzhou has been a bustling hub, with its waterways being exceptionally developed, making commerce flourish. Subin found it hard to believe that no shipwrecks lay beneath these waters. Indeed, the underwater realm is where treasures are most abundantly concealed. However, the costs associated with salvage operations are exorbitant, and many antiquities do not withstand the rigors of underwater preservation. Nevertheless, the chance of encountering such artifacts, even in less than ideal conditions, still exists. Subin vaguely recalled that a few years prior, a treasure trove from a sunken ship belonging to Zhang Xianzhong had been discovered in a section of the Yangtze. Rumor had it that only a fraction of the treasure, comprising tens of thousands of relics, had been unearthed, including a substantial quantity of gold and silver. With this thought in mind, Subin swam with renewed vigor. 10 meters, 20 meters, 40 meters, 50 meters, soon he reached the abyssal depths of 70 meters. He swam aimlessly, devoid of a clear objective, initially filled with enthusiasm. Subin lost his patience after several hours of fruitless exploration. He encountered numerous fish, yet not a single shipwreck. It seemed that the promised fortune eluded him. Just as he prepared to ascend, a dark shadow caught his peripheral vision, approaching with remarkable speed. In an instant, the shadow surged beside him. Subin reacted like a seasoned warrior, swiftly pivoting to evade the collision while brandishing a diving knife. This maneuver was executed flawlessly. The knife, of exquisite quality and costing Subin 8,000 yuan, found its mark in the shadow's flesh. Withdrawing the blade, he intended to strike again, but the shadow, in pain, made a hasty retreat. You shall not intimidate me in these waters. I am Subin, the master of the waves, armed with the Zhang Shun identity card. He felt invincible beneath the surface. As the shadow attempted to flee, Subin charged forward, knife in hand. Though the shadow moved quickly, Subin was not slow in pursuit. They maintained a distance of 20 meters. The injured shadow swam increasingly sluggishly, while Subin's speed intensified. The 20-meter distance was well within his line of sight. During the chase, Subin discerned the form of the creature, a fish over 3 meters long, weighing an estimated 200 pounds. It bore a striking resemblance to a catfish, known as a ferocious carnivorous freshwater fish. The catfish is often referred to as the tiger of the river, fearsome in its aquatic domain. However, Subin recalled that records indicated catfish typically measured over 1 meter and weighed just above 100 pounds. The creature before him appeared to be a possible mutation. Whether the catfish had indeed mutated was beyond Subin's knowledge, but the fish that had attacked him was acutely aware that it had encountered a formidable adversary. Subin had encountered catfish before, yet never one that was still alive. The catfish was filled with perplexity. wondering why the bipedal creature behind it appeared to be more formidable than itself. Though unable to turn back, the catfish sensed that the relentless pursuer was drawing ever closer. At that moment, all the catfish yearned for was to return swiftly to its lair, just as it was nearing its sanctuary. An unexpected disturbance rippled through the water beneath it. At that instant, Subin had swum directly beneath the catfish. Turning to face the creature, he swiftly wielded his diving knife, slicing through the catfish's abdomen with precision. In an instant, the catfish floundered like a toy deprived of its battery. After a few chaotic rolls, it lay still. With the threat of the attacking catfish extinguished, the murderous aura surrounding Subin dissipated by half. He pondered whether such a sizable fish would be palatable, but dismissed the thought, considering the possibility that it had feasted on the remains of the deceased. Just as Subin resolved to leave the carcass of the catfish behind, he suddenly froze. 30 meters away, an object resembling a mast emerged before his eyes. What was this? A sunken ship. Chapter 17. How could there be no rewards? Observing the suspected sunken vessel before him, Subin was filled with excitement as he swam closer. Upon nearing the site, he confirmed that it was indeed a wooden shipwreck. The vessel, ravaged by the river's waters, bore numerous gaping holes along its hull. Subin, lacking extensive knowledge of ancient ships, nonetheless recognized that this was certainly an antiquated craft, as modern vessels do not exhibit such deterioration. With a fervent heart, he ventured through the breaches into the ship's cabin, thanks to his underwater visibility. He clearly discerned the interior's landscape. This sunken ship appeared to be a merchant vessel intended for transporting porcelain. Subin spotted countless shattered fragments of porcelain, and he couldn't help but lament their loss. Though he was not well versed in antiques, he was aware that ancient porcelain could be quite valuable. Besides the porcelain shards, Subin also noticed numerous rusted iron artifacts and some skeletal remains. While he paid little heed to some of the bones, others, which bore modern attachments, caused him to furrow his brow. It was evident that this was the lair of a colossal catfish, and these modern remains seemed to be its prey. In light of this, Subin felt relieved that he had not entertained the thought of consuming the catfish. After swimming several laps within the cabin, Subin's initial fervor began to wane. The good news was that this was indeed a merchant ship, specifically one that transported porcelain. The bad news was that the vessel appeared to have suffered severe impacts, rendering all the porcelain into shards devoid of value. Feeling disheartened by the lack of treasures, Subin ventured into what was clearly the shipowner's quarters. If he found nothing here, he resolved to return home. As he entered the room, his spirits lifted. Before him stood a large chest secured with a brass lock. Drawing from his years of experience, Subin was convinced that anything locked away must hold some worth. He employed his diving knife to shatter the lock and rubbed his hands together in anticipation. Fortune favored him. At that moment, Subin felt as if he had just vanquished a formidable boss and was about to unveil a treasure. However, when the chest finally opened, his expression quickly soured. It seemed his luck had run dry. Inside the chest lay items, but they were all porcelain, much like the fragments outside, and not a single piece was intact. For heaven's sake, could you please spare my emotions? Subin felt an overwhelming urge to smash the decrepit ship in frustration. After all his efforts, he had netted nothing of value. In a fit of discontent, Subin slashed the contents of the chest with his diving knife, initially merely a gesture of his dissatisfaction. Yet, to his surprise, the blade struck something solid. Reaching in, he discovered a rusted iron box, which was also locked. Measuring over 30 centimeters in length and 20 centimeters in height, Subin pondered what secrets it might hold as he grasped the box in his hands. Well, at least this counts as a small reward, he mused. After confirming there was nothing else of interest, Subin departed from the sunken ship, clutching the iron box. As dawn broke, Subin, who had emerged from the depths of the Yangtze River, realized he had unwittingly spent the entire night submerged. Upon reaching the shore, he eagerly unlatched the iron box, its lock proving to be more ornamental than functional. The moment the box creaked open, Subin gasped in astonishment. Was that glass? The interior walls of the box were lined with a thick layer of decayed leather, seemingly intended for cushioning. At its center lay a square glass vessel, meticulously sealed with amber, completely impervious to water. Illuminated by his flashlight, Subin discerned what appeared to be a porcelain artifact within. Confirming the presence of porcelain, a gleam of joy spread across his face. The meticulous protection of the porcelain suggested that it was undoubtedly a treasure of considerable worth. With this thought, Subin decisively shattered the glass exterior. The sound of breaking glass echoed around him. Once the glass shield lay in shards, the entirety of the porcelain was revealed to him more clearly. Indeed, it was a porcelain bowl resting upon a piece of silk. As he lifted the bowl, Su Bin examined it closely. The surface of the porcelain glistened with a smooth sheen, and the walls were remarkably thin, showcasing a graceful curvature throughout. Adorning the exterior were exquisite blue and white phoenix motifs. At the mere sight of the phoenix design, Su Bin was struck by an overwhelming sense of elegance and opulence. After a prolonged gaze, he could not help but exclaim 5 words. It's absolutely stunning. However, when he glanced at the base of the bowl, he was momentarily taken aback. Ming Dynasty, Qinghua era, he read. What does this signify? Could it hold great value? The inscription confirmed the bowl's age, yet Su Bin, possessing scant knowledge of antiques, remained uncertain of its worth or whether it met the esteemed standards of prized artifacts. Initially, he contemplated searching online for more information. But with the sun now fully risen, he resolved to seek advice at an antique shop. With that decision made, he changed his clothes and set off in his vehicle. By a twist of fate, the iron box and the shattered glass cover were carelessly left in his trunk. Throughout the journey, Su Bin refrained from speeding. 2 hours later, he arrived at Luban Palace, the largest antique market in Jingzhou. This bustling venue was teeming with vendors, both on the roadside and those peddling their wares to passers-by. Hey there, interested in Yuan Dynasty blue and white porcelain? Good-looking fellow, genuine galloping horse, price negotiable. Hello, I have a Qingming scroll. Care to take a look? Su Bin's appearance betrayed his novice status. As he entered the Luban Palace, a throng of individuals surged towards Su Bin, even with little knowledge of antiques. Su Bin could discern that these people were attempting to deceive him. Yuan Dynasty blue and white porcelain? The galloping horse? The Qiming riverside landscape? Such a farce was hardly a credible ruse. Su Bin tolerated these antics. However, when confronted by someone offering him a USB drive and a hard disk, he could no longer endure it. Quickening his pace, Su Bin distanced himself from the bustling vendor area. Beyond the vendors, the Luban Palace housed an antique city, replete with quaint and charming boutiques. In stark contrast to the hawkers peddling galloping horse trinkets, the shops here exuded a certain restraint. Their business operations imbued with an air of sophistication. Uncertain of which shop bore a good reputation, Su Bin decided to head directly towards the largest establishment. Upon entering, he was greeted by a man seated in a rocking chair, who called out, "Customers are welcome. Please feel free to browse, but kindly refrain from handling the porcelain and jade." Though the man was polite, he showed no inclination to rise and welcome guests. Su Bin was uncertain if this was standard decorum in antique shops. Casting a glance at the man, Su Bin spoke, "Hello, I possess a piece of porcelain. Might I request your appraisal?" The man replied, "What kind of porcelain?" "My friend, the world of porcelain is quite intricate. Let us have a look. If it happens to be microwave safe, we might just find ourselves in for a delightful surprise." Chapter 18. The imitation. The man reclining in the rocking chair spoke with a rather unpleasant tone, prompting Su Bin to turn and leave. Observing Su Bin's intent to depart, the man chuckled and said, "Oh, quite temperamental, are we? You can't possibly leave without toying with me a little, can you? Fear not, I shan't charge you a fee. I'm merely seeking a bit of amusement." As he spoke, the man unsteadily approached Su Bin. Su Bin scrutinized the man from head to toe. He appeared to be in his 40s, standing at around 175 centimeters tall, with a remarkably slender physique. Just by observing his features, Su Bin discerned that this was a notably shrewd individual. For some reason, he was reminded of the character with the golden dental crown from tomb raiding novels. Realizing he was already there, Su Bin nodded and inquired, "What do you go by?" "Jean," with the single character bow. "Our ancestors hail from the Banner, and since my grandfather's generation, we have indulged in antiques for 3 generations. In the entire Luban Palace, particularly concerning the appraisal of antiques, especially porcelain, none surpass our expertise. Today, you are fortunate. Do present any porcelain you wish for me to examine." "And you are?" "Su Yuzu." Su Bin, when not being drained by the Su family, was exceedingly cautious. As he spoke, Jean Bao invited Su Bin to an 8 Immortals table. Su Bin held a silk storage bag, a gift from the Land Rover dealership, which was just the right size to contain the porcelain bowl, its craftsmanship commendable, albeit the large dealership logo rendered it somewhat discordant. Noticing Su Bin's intention to hand him the bowl, Jean Bao quickly waved his hand, saying porcelain should not be handled carelessly, place it there, and I shall take care of it. From Su Bin's mere gesture, Jean Bao surmised that Su Bin possessed little knowledge on the subject. Su Bin, however, paid little mind to this and set the porcelain bowl upon the table. Let us see. I suspect this to be a piece from the Ming Qinghua period. Your efforts will not go unrewarded in consultation fees." "Ah, even if it is from the Ming Qinghua period, I've stated there will be no consultation fee. You can smash my store for a mere dime." As he spoke, Jin Bao had already lifted the porcelain bowl. Upon handling it, there was a brief pause in his movements, but he quickly regained his composure. Su Bin noticed this subtle reaction. Ah, the quality is indeed impressive. It appears to be a palace bowl from the Ming Chuhua era. Is it valuable? Indeed. It is certainly valuable. In ancient times, such items were not rare, but few remain today. Most are housed in museums. I recall over a decade ago, a bowl sold for over 100 million, and others fetched tens of millions. Genuine articles are exceptional. However, yours. Are you suggesting it is a counterfeit? May I inquire further? Where did it come from? It was a family heirloom, brought out in times of need. While Su Bin was no expert in antiques, he was well-versed in sales. Observing Jin Bao's demeanor, he sensed something amiss. Jin Bao did not fully believe Su Bin's words. If this bowl were indeed a palace bowl from the Ming Chuhua period, it would undoubtedly possess great value. The inventory of Chuhua imperial bowls is exceedingly scarce, and assembling a complete set is nearly impossible, the reason being that 3 of these bowls have never surfaced in the contemporary world. The bowl in your possession is a Tuanfeng pattern imperial bowl that has yet to be found in the present day. Without further examination, I can ascertain its authenticity. This piece is likely a replica from the Republic of China period, as I encountered a similar one 2 years ago. If one were to argue its value, it is indeed counterfeit, rendering it devoid of worth. Conversely, if one were to contend that it lacks value, the craftsmanship is commendable, and the artisans of that era possessed exceptional skills, so should it find favor with a collector, it might fetch a respectable price. Here is my proposition. If you are in urgent need, I can acquire it for 50,000 yuan. Do not dismiss the offer as insignificant. To be candid, we could easily resell it for a profit of 100 to 200,000 yuan. However, I possess the necessary connections, which you do not. So, what do you say? If you choose to part with it, I shall gladly take it off your hands, making it a delightful find for an early morning. As Jin Bao spoke, he nodded sagely, exuding an air of professionalism. Yet, inadvertently, he cast several glances at Su Bin, scrutinizing his expressions. Su Bin bore an expression of inner turmoil, yet he was inwardly amused. From Jin Bao's assertion that the bowl was a Republic imitation, Su Bin discerned that Jin Bao was indeed fabricating. The merchant vessel in question was substantial, while wooden ships certainly existed during the Republic period. Su Bin found it implausible that such a large wooden vessel could have been constructed at that time. Furthermore, the glaze clearly indicated ancient craftsmanship. At this juncture, Su Bin was inclined to believe that the bowl was genuine. Moreover, through Jin Bao's various behaviors, Su Bin surmised that the bowl's value was unlikely to be low. Essentially, Jin Bao was a salesman, and in the realm of sales, the adage holds that among 10 claims, 9 may be false and 1 true. Aside from the fact that this porcelain bowl was a replica, most of Jin Bao's other assertions were likely accurate. With the rarity of the imperial bowl, combined with the high prices fetched by similar items, these elements were sufficient for Su Bin to contemplate a deal. After much deliberation, Su Bin remarked, "Very well. 50,000 yuan is insufficient for my purposes. I shall take the bowl." As he spoke, Su Bin reached out to grasp the bowl, maintaining an expression of feigned ignorance. Noticing Su Bin's intent, Jin Bao naturally placed the bowl upon the table. It was only after Su Bin had secured the porcelain bowl that Jin Bao stated, "One must not be greedy. This bowl is something I can acquire, and you may inquire with others if you doubt it." "Thank you. But surely you do not wish to collect a consulting fee?" Su Bin inquired. "I do not," Jin Bao replied tersely. "Shall I take my leave then? Are you truly unwilling to reconsider the 50,000? Su Bin sighed. "Very well, I shall depart." As he turned to exit, a flicker of urgency appeared in Jin Bao's eyes as he observed Su Bin's retreating figure. Despite Jin Bao's outward nonchalance, inwardly, he was in turmoil. While his words may have seemed boastful, he was indeed a seasoned connoisseur of antiques, having been immersed in the field for 3 generations. Upon first handling the bowl, Jin Bao sensed its authenticity. Observing Su Bin as a novice, Jin Bao aimed to seize an opportunity. A Tuanfeng pattern imperial bowl of such quality, even if not genuine, would still command a price in the hundreds of thousands. Acquiring it for 50,000 would be a significant gain for Jin Bao. Furthermore, he had merely conducted a cursory examination. Should he inspect it more thoroughly, he felt confident that his chances of verifying its authenticity would increase significantly. However, no one anticipated that Su Bin would depart so abruptly. As he gazed at Su Bin, Jin Bao's heart was tumultuously conflicted. Meanwhile, Su Bin, with his back turned to Jin Bao, wore a cold smile. At this moment, it was evident that a game of wits was unfolding between the two. The sole distinction was that Su Bin sought to ascertain the authenticity once more, while Jin Bao was contemplating whether to call out to him. Su Bin understood well that should Jin Bao call him back, the item would likely be secured. Conversely, if he remained silent, Su Bin would need to visit several more shops, incurring additional appraisal fees. He was merely 3 steps away from exiting the store when Jin Bao resolved to act. Hey, seeing you are also in a predicament, I shall add an extra 20,000. I'm sorry, but it's not for sale. As he turned, Su Bin suddenly revealed a cryptic smile. Upon witnessing Su Bin's grin, Jin Bao's heart sank. It was over. He had encountered a cunning adversary. Observing Su Bin preparing to leave, the previously composed Jin Bao swiftly dashed to the entrance, blocking the door. Noticing Jin Bao's sudden movement, Su Bin instinctively reached for his lower back, where his diving knife remained concealed. Chapter 19. How much is it worth? Su Bin had inherited the martial prowess of Zhang Shan. While Zhang Shan's combat capabilities on land were rather ordinary, he found it quite effortless to handle someone like Jin Bao. Just as Su Bin anticipated that Jin Bao might resort to violence, Jin Bao suddenly exclaimed with urgency, Master Su. You are a master, indeed a master of masters. You must have come here to discern the genuine from the counterfeit. I implore you, grant me but a fleeting glance, just one more look. This object holds an irresistible allure for individuals like us. I beseech you, allow me just one more glimpse. Is that so? A mere look, and one can ascertain its authenticity. Very well. In no time, Su Bin returned to the 8 Immortals table. Fearing a misunderstanding, Jin Bao promptly opened the door. Upon opening, he called towards the rear of the shop, Everyone, cease your feasting. Bring forth the offerings. Soon, a large group of employees clad in blue attire arranged a variety of tributes and incense burners before the 8 Immortals table. Among them was a bowl adorned with the phoenix design, prominently displayed. Once the offerings were set, Jin Bao commanded the porcelain bowl, kneel. With a clatter, Jin Bao and the employees formed a line in reverence. By observing their movements, Su Bin discerned that this group was already well versed in this ritual. After 3 kneelings and 9 prostrations, Jin Bao stood up solemnly, holding the porcelain bowl with great care. Boss Jin, what is this display? Master Su, you may not comprehend, but this is a matter of sincerity. It is a tradition of the old Jin family. After uttering this, Jin Bao fell silent, intently examining the porcelain bowl before him. This scrutiny lasted a full half-hour. After the passage of time, Jin Bao exhaled deeply. Master Su, it exudes great fortune. Is it authentic now? Previously, it was 90%. Now, it stands at 99%. I must inquire, Master Su, whence does this item originate? I acknowledge that my question may breach etiquette. Yet you may choose to answer or refrain. Jin Bao's words were laced with implication, hinting that if the origins were dubious, he preferred to remain uninformed. Su Bin remained wary of Jin Bao's cunning. The lore passed down in his family would not escape Jin Bao's scrutiny. Fortunately, he had prepared a response during his journey. I hail from a meat processing plant. Do you know its origins? Indeed, I recall that Prince Yi, Shidakai, had a troop stationed in Jingzhou. The meat processing plant was once the encampment of that very army. Master Su, have you unearthed treasures belonging to Prince Yi? What nonsense is that? Should I discover treasures? They would be surrendered to the state. I have a brother whose ancestors served under Prince Yi. All of us from Jingzhou possess our genealogies. This bowl was passed down through his lineage. Some years ago, his family fell upon hard times, and I procured this bowl from him for 3,000 yuan. My heavens. 3,000? Master Su, you have struck gold. Su Bin's words aroused no suspicion in Jin Bao. Their conversation was woven with a tapestry of truth and fabrication. Su Bin, 2. Mingled honesty with deception. The existence of his brother was real, as was his lineage to Prince Yi's general. The only divergence was that the brother's family had long since perished. Su Bin's brother had spent many years in a mental institution, and after his release, he seemed to have vanished without a trace. Those who seek to investigate may do so, yet they will find nothing. Moreover, Su Bin had engaged in a transaction with Kai Xia. This affluent woman is both trustworthy and influential. As long as the deal ultimately rests in Kai Xia's hands, Su Bin will face no complications. Boss Jin, could you provide an estimate for this item? Su Yi, I cannot say for certain. Antiques do not possess a fixed price. However, the phoenix is indeed a symbol of auspiciousness, and this phoenix pattern piece is an unparalleled artifact. I have the capital to acquire it, but once I do, my funds will become quite strained. If Su Yi wishes to sell, I have 2 options. The first is to take it to an auction house, and the second is for me to connect you with potential buyers. As for the price, it is difficult to ascertain, but it will not be less than 9 figures. If it falls below that, you may sell it directly to me. How much? 9 figures. The highest price for this series of palace bowls has reached 140 million. This piece will fetch no less, and with proper promotion, it could even double in value. This is a unique item, a one-of-a-kind treasure. It is worth the price. Su Bin was truly astonished. Selling antiques is indeed far more profitable than dealing in real estate. Antiques are comparatively diminutive, while houses are substantial. Thank you, Boss Jean. I will ponder this further. Very well, here is my business card. Let us exchange contact information. I have an appointment this afternoon, but once I am finished, I shall treat Su to a meal. That sounds agreeable. With a lingering gaze at the phoenix pattern piece, Su Bin departed from Jean Bao's shop. Before leaving, Jean Bao gifted Su Bin a sandalwood box, specifically designed to house the porcelain bowl. Jean Bao was clearly displeased at the thought of Su Bin using a shabby bag to carry such a precious artifact. It was evident that Jean Bao held this bowl in high regard. Upon exiting Jean Bao's store, Su Bin kept the elegant box close, as well as a diving knife at his side. He now possessed a promising prospect, perhaps even more than one. After driving out of Luban Palace, Su Bin made a call to Kai Xia. Sister Kai, little brother, do you have any news? Indeed, Sister Kai, I have a unique item in my possession. It has just been appraised and may very well be genuine. A Ming Changhua Phoenix Pattern Palace Bowl. I wonder if you might be interested. A Ming Dynasty Palace Bowl should be quite valuable. Allow me, little brother. I will provide you with an address. This afternoon at 2 o'clock. I have invited several friends to assist me in authenticating the piece. Please come and take a look. If it is genuine, that would be splendid. If not, I will treat you to a meal, as I promised last time. All right, Sister Kai. Upon receiving Kai Xia's address, Su Bin was quite taken aback. This affluent woman resided in the same luxurious estate as Jiang Shi, mere neighbors. At 2 o'clock, Su Bin arrived at Kai Xia's villa. Her residence was equally as opulent as Jiang Shi's. Guided by Kai Xia's female assistant, Su Bin entered her study, which was already filled with 7 or 8 individuals. Judging by their attire, they appeared to be a gathering of the affluent and elite. A long table displayed an array of antiques, including porcelain, calligraphy, and jade. Su Bin often struggles to recall the names of many things. Each time he encounters Kai Xia, a distinguished figure from Jingzhou, he is struck by her beauty. This affluent woman possesses the visage of a national first love, an epitome of classical beauty. Kai Xia's soft, oval face is characterized by its harmonious contours. Her forehead is notably full, while her brow and nose are exquisitely prominent. Her almond-shaped eyes, imbued with emotion, complement her gently upturned chin, lending her allure a touch of charm. She is a woman bestowed with the gifts of nature. Not only does she possess striking features, but her skin is also fair and delicate. Most importantly, she is exceptionally wealthy. Upon seeing Su Bin, Kai Xia greeted him with a smile, saying, "Little brother, you've arrived. Please, make yourself comfortable. Would you care for a drink?" "Sister Kai, a bottle of mineral water will suffice," Su Bin replied. Shortly thereafter, Kai Xia's assistant brought forth a bottle of mineral water. Su Bin settled into a corner, unnoticed by the others in attendance. Observing Su Bin, Kai Xia remarked with a smile, "We just await Boss Jean, who seems to be caught in traffic. In the meantime, let us take a look at what my little brother has brought. Why not show everyone the Ming Shuhua Palace Bowl with the phoenix motif?" At her words, a middle-aged man dressed in a short shirt and holding a pipe let out a laugh. "Kai, it seems you've encountered a con artist. All these antiques on your table are borrowed from friends, and their authenticity is questionable. But this young lad claims to have a Ming Changhua Palace Bowl. Such a treasure has never seen the light of day in this world." Turning to Su Bin with a cold stare, the man said, "Youngster, you've stumbled upon a formidable challenge here. The individuals present are all connoisseurs of antiques. Even if Kai does not take issue, we certainly will not let you off easily." Chapter 20. Just how wealthy is this heiress? Indeed, who among us is not an expert? You cannot deceive us so easily. How did you, so young, venture into this field? Mr. Kai, where did you find this charlatan? In the past, the wandering merchants included the famed 8 generals, among whom there were those who specialized in deceiving with antiques. Do not fall prey to them. If it were deception of another sort, that might be one thing. But you dare to speak of a Ming Dynasty Changhua bowl adorned with a phoenix pattern? You truly have audacity. The attendees scarcely regarded Su Bin as Mr. Kai's guests were indeed connoisseurs of antiques. However, these experts were not merely enthusiasts, they were also affluent magnates. They amassed their fortunes through antiques before diversifying into other ventures. Those present hailed from all corners of the nation, yet the least among them possessed fortunes in the billions. They were well acquainted with the wealthy elites of Jingzhou. But Su Bin was a name unfamiliar to them. Not all affluent individuals possessed the amiable demeanor of Kai Xia. The temperaments of the wealthy can be as varied as they are peculiar, a reality Su Bin had long since come to accept. To speak candidly, Su Bin currently found himself ill-equipped to engage with such individuals. However, in due time, that may well change. According to the system's usual patterns, it was but a matter of time before Su Bin gained significant renown. While Su Bin remained silent, Kai Xia smiled. Esteemed guests, my young friend Su Bin is indeed a capable individual. I trust he would not intentionally deceive me. He mentioned he was uncertain upon arrival. Perhaps you could lend your discerning eyes to this matter. As young people, we should nurture their potential. There exists a considerable disparity even among the wealthy. Kai Xia's manner of dealing with others provided Su Bin with a most comfortable impression. Since Mr. Kai has spoken, let us see for ourselves. Young brother, please present the Ming Dynasty Chenghua Bowl. The man with the pipe maintained his air of disdain, yet out of respect for Kai Xia, he refrained from further disparagement. Su Bin, having been tempered by the trials of society, understood the necessity of patience in times of inadequacy. Calmly, he retrieved a silk box and placed the porcelain bowl upon the long table. Esteemed guests, please. Oh, we must handle the porcelain with care. Let us take a look. The pipe-smoking man was the first to reach for the bowl, treating it as though it were his own. Initially, he wore a face of skepticism, but soon his expression transformed. Jin Bao, a genuine antique dealer, often needed to control his emotions to avoid giving away his interest. However, the pipe-smoking man was genuinely engrossed in the antiques, and his expression was unguarded. This is intriguing, he remarked. As soon as he uttered those words, his eyes lit up with astonishment. At that moment, the others gathered around. Such craftsmanship, the patterns, the lines, the glaze, the imperfections. If a forgery could attain this level, it would be indistinguishable from the real thing. Old Wu, have you ever seen a Chenghua bowl? What do you think? It resembles the genuine article, indeed. Lu Good, let me see the base mark. The study erupted into excitement. The assemblage of magnates in the realm of antiques has ceased to adhere even to the most rudimentary etiquette regarding porcelain. A man referred to as Old Wu meticulously scrutinized the base mark of a porcelain bowl. Upon his examination, Old Wu was utterly taken aback, inhaling sharply. Observing his unusual demeanor, those around him clamored with curiosity, inquiring, "What is the matter?" "It's astonishingly authentic," he replied. "Let us wait for little gold." This lad has handled no fewer than 8,000 pieces of porcelain, if not 10,000. He is an expert. In that moment, the previously indifferent group of wealthy patrons, who had disregarded Su Bin, transformed in their expressions. Their passion for antiques was genuine, akin to a gourmet encountering exquisite cuisine or Shimin Qing meeting Pan Jinlian. As Su Bin stood there, Old Lu, who had earlier been the most critical of him, approached with a smile. "Young brother, I am Lu Wenhua, engaged in the furniture business. 3 of the nation's top 10 cabinet brands are mine, and I dabble in various other enterprises. May I ask your name?" "Su Bin," he replied. "A fine name indeed, unlike mine, which sounds rather rustic. Despite my name suggesting culture, I barely completed elementary school. I am, in fact, illiterate," he chuckled heartily. "Here, allow me to offer you a cigar, a top-tier Habanos." As Lu Wenhua extended the cigar, Su Bin nonchalantly produced his own white clouds, stating, "I appreciate the gesture, Mr. Lu, but I only smoke these. Others cause me to cough." Su Bin typically harbors no grudges, yet when the occasion arises, he retaliates without hesitation. "Oh, this is splendid. This is healthy. Hand me one," Lu declared, and without waiting for Su Bin's consent, he selected a cigarette from Su Bin's pack. After lighting his own, Lu brought the flame to Su Bin, saying, "Come on, brother Su, don't be shy." Lu's actions elicited laughter from Kai Xia. "Lu, are you attempting to seize the opportunity? We haven tea yet discern the authenticity of this piece." The affluent individuals present were undoubtedly motivated by profit, particularly Lu Wenhua, who exuded an air of arrogance. It was evident that he had taken a keen interest in the palace bowl. "What do you mean by that?" he retorted. "I am merely drawn to Brother Su's warmth. I assess potential friends based on wealth, background, and fortune, while I am unaware of Brother Su's financial standing. Possessing such a unique item signifies great fortune, and I am inclined to befriend those with such auspiciousness. You know me. I rely on intuition when appraising antiques, and I have never erred. This porcelain bowl appears authentic to me. Brother Su, I apologize for the earlier offense, Lu continued. No need for formality. Just call me Lu or Old Lu if you prefer, he insisted. Lu Wenhua's actions once again validated Su Bin's theory. The truly eccentric among the wealthy are often quite extraordinary. Su Bin understood the notions of wealth and background, but the concept of fortune was perplexing. As Lu Wenhua extended an olive branch, Su Bin naturally reciprocated with appreciation. Lu had previously mentioned his status as a furniture tycoon. Su Bin's forthcoming endeavors would revolve around real estate, potentially yielding opportunities for collaboration. Lu Gu, Su Bin addressed him. Ah, brother, Lu replied. As they conversed, another individual entered from outside. The individual, Su Bin, had recently encountered none other than Jin Bao. The attendees had already set their sights on the porcelain bowl. But with Jin Bao's endorsement, their composure swiftly evaporated. Young man, I shall acquire this porcelain bowl for 50 million. 50 million? What a joke. I bid 80 million. 100 million. I offer 100 million. 120 million. 150 million. 180 million. 200 million. The wealthy assemblage descended into a frenzy, their bids leaving Su Bin utterly bewildered. Jin Bao, vigilant, clutched the exquisite palace bowl adorned with the phoenix pattern, genuinely fearing that the excitement of the bidders might result in its destruction. Amidst the fervent shouting, a melodious voice rang out, "Gentlemen, this is rather ungracious of you. We agreed to assist one another in discerning value, yet here you are, squabbling amongst yourselves." Kai Shia's words left everyone momentarily stunned, as if they had suddenly recognized their folly. They seemed to realize they were inadvertently pitting their fortunes against Kai Shia's liquid assets. The individuals present were indeed of considerable wealth, yet when it came to cash, Kai Shia surpassed them all. Su Bin, intrigued by the authority her statement commanded, found himself pondering the extent of this affluent lady's fortune. Chapter 21. The Pinnacle of Phoenix Men in the Enigmatic Metallic Plate in the afternoon. Kai Shia personally escorted her guests out of the villa following a sumptuous family banquet. Within the echelons of Kai Shia's social class, such a gathering represents the utmost hospitality. The assembly of affluent individuals subtly sensed that this banquet was arranged in honor of Su Bin. Brother, I truly appreciate your kindness this time. This palace bowl adorned with the phoenix motif has captured my heart. I owe you a favor, and should you require assistance in the future, do not hesitate to call me, she expressed warmly. Dear Sister Kai, the gratitude should be mine, Su Bin replied, his excitement unmistakable. He had anticipated that the porcelain bowl would hold considerable value, yet he never fathomed Kai Shia would be so generous in her offer. When the bidding among the wealthy reached 200 million, Kai Shia promptly declared a flat 300 million. No one dared to contest her. The previous bids already bordered on impudence. With her substantial liquidity well known, no one wished to offend her. Once the 300 million was confirmed, Su Bin's composure faltered. He transitioned from a millionaire to a billionaire in less than a week, gazing at the string of zeros in his account. He feared this might merely be a mirage following the severance of ties. Thankfully, it was indeed real. As Kai Shia escorted her guests to the door, a Bentley pulled up at the villa's entrance. Once the vehicle came to a halt, a middle-aged man in his 40s alighted. Noticing the driver approaching the trunk, he promptly interjected. Soon, this man, donning gold-rimmed glasses and a custom-tailored suit, retrieved 2 insulated boxes from the trunk. Su Bin discerned that this individual was no ordinary person, yet his actions were devoid of pretense. Carrying the 2 insulated boxes, the bespectacled man approached the entrance of Kai Shia's villa. Shia, you have company, he remarked, nodding in acknowledgement to those present. Lu Wenhua, witnessing the scene, displayed a hint of disdain in his expression. Kai, since you have a guest, we shall take our leave and gather another time. Very well, I will not see you off. Let us meet again soon, she replied. Su Bin followed the crowd as they departed from Kai Shia's residence. Observing the man's gaze towards Kai Shia, Su Bin surmised that he was likely an admirer or perhaps a romantic partner. Before departing, Su Bin overheard a snippet of their conversation. Shia, I personally caught these river delicacies. They are quite exquisite. Xiaoming, thank you, but there is no need for such gestures, she responded graciously. As the group boarded the electric cart heading towards the public parking lot of the estate, Su Bin curiously inquired, Brother Lu, is that Kai's boyfriend? In response, Lu Wenhua scoffed, merely a suitor. However, a fierce woman may fear an entangling man. The future remains uncertain. Lu Wenhua had intentions of befriending Su Bin, perceiving him as a person of great fortune. Initially, he regarded Su Bin with disdain, but now he exhibited the most enthusiasm among those present. Su Bin, my brother, That man is named Lu Shanming. Do you consider him a successful individual? If you do, you may be both right and wrong. However, I must inform you that he is quite notorious in southern Jiangsu as a soft rice king, having made significant strides in the realm of male courtesans. It's not just women who are fond of gossip. Men are equally intrigued. As Su Bin and Lu Wenhua continued their conversation, they found themselves a considerable distance from the public parking lot. In the course of their discussion, Su Bin couldn't help but give Lu Shanming a thumbs up. This isn't merely a soft rice king. He is, in fact, the epitome of a phoenix man. Lu Shanming is still relatively young, just over 40 years old. He serves as the president and chairman of the Chao Group in southern Jiangsu. This man possesses striking good looks and, in his earlier years, was merely an ordinary employee at the Chao Group. It seems that fortune smiled upon him, as he caught the eye of the previous leader, Ho Guifan, who eventually became his wife. After Ho Guifan's untimely death due to a heart attack 6 months ago, Lu Shanming somehow managed to persuade her children to smoothly take over the Chao Group. From a poor boy emerging from a mountain village to the helm of a billion-dollar enterprise, Su Bin found Lu Shanming's journey somewhat inspirational, even if it was through the influence of a woman. Brother Lu, that is quite an achievement. Perhaps there was genuine love between them, Su Bin remarked, eliciting laughter from Lu Wenhua. My dear brother, you are still quite young. Love, what a farcical notion. Lu Shanming is 40, while Ho Guifan was 75 at the time of her passing. They wed a decade ago, which means that when they were romantically involved, Lu Shanming was 30 and Ho Guifan was 65. Love? That's right. Su Bin was momentarily taken aback. A 35-year age gap indeed revealed Lu Shanming's audacity. This man seems naturally inclined to live off the fortunes of women. Now, he is pursuing General Manager Kai. One wonders if she will be charmed by him. Alas, good looks can indeed be a currency. If I were to seek a partner older than myself, I would still have to spend money. As the conversation shifted, Su Bin deftly redirected the topic. Matters concerning the affluent elite were still beyond his reach. After retrieving his car, Su Bin drove back to the Shangri-La Hotel. On the way, the exhilaration of earning 300 million diminished significantly. At that moment, a thought struck him. One truly realizes their poverty only after earning their first billion. For it is then that they encounter the wealthy. Upon exiting the Jinxiu Golf Manor, Su Bin inquired about the price of the villas there. He discovered that the starting price was 800 million, and there was a scarcity of availability. His 300 million didn't even meet the threshold to reside in Jinxiu Golf Manor. More earning was imperative. For Su Bin, treasure hunting could only be an occasional endeavor, heavily reliant on luck. After all, this field carries its own risks. Fortunately, due to the high credibility of Kai Shiya, Su Bin felt emboldened to take action. With her endorsement, the profits he earned were devoid of risk. As he arrived at the hotel's underground parking lot in his Range Rover SV, Su Bin opened the trunk to retrieve his belongings. By chance, Su Bin stumbled upon the glass cover. He had previously inquired with Jean Bao about such glass antiques, which are not inexpensive, provided they possess an exquisite design. A square glass cover would hardly fetch a significant sum. With this thought in mind, Su Bin contemplated discarding this worthless item. As he grasped the base of the glass cover, he noticed that the silk within had oxidized. At the bottom of the silk, he discovered a metallic piece. What could this be? Upon picking up the metal fragment, Su Bin realized it was not iron. At least, it was a type of metal he had never encountered before. The metallic piece was etched with patterns resembling a map, albeit a fragmented one. The reverse side bore an inscription, featuring the character Chin. Could it possibly be a treasure map? While Su Bin toyed with the cool metallic piece, he jested. Fully aware that it was unlikely he would be fortunate enough to unearth both an antique and a treasure map simultaneously. Yet, just as he tucked the metallic piece into his pocket, a sudden epiphany flashed through his mind. Could it be? Chapter 22, The Madmansion, The Fool Su. And the coward thank you, Boss Jean, Su Bin replied, a hint of uncertainty flickering in his eyes. No, I was merely inquiring. All right then, goodbye. In the suite of the Shangri-La Hotel, Su Bin sat before the floor-to-ceiling window, pondering a revelation he had gleaned earlier that day at Jean Bao's shop. He had heard whispers that the imperial bowls from the Ming Dynasty's Changhua period were, in fact, produced in considerable quantities. Today, such items are worth their weight in gold as rare antiques. Yet during the Ming era, they were merely dining ware for the palace and noble households, far from being deemed precious. This raised a perplexing question. Why encase such mundane tableware in exquisite glazed pottery, reinforced by an iron box and sealed with amber? Su Bin found it hard to justify the extravagance for a simple porcelain bowl. Upon a closer examination of the metallic piece, he noticed it bore signs of having been cut, suggesting an enigma lay beneath its surface. Yet, Su Bin could only sense this mystery. Unraveling it would require extraordinary fortune. And he approached such matters with a nonchalant disposition. Just as he intended to descend for dinner, his phone chimed. It was Wang Yang calling. Yang. What is the matter? Master, the plaque has arrived. Would you like to come and take a look? Is it so soon? Wasn't it supposed to be ready tomorrow? It was completed ahead of schedule. Very well, I shall come over shortly. Upon arriving at the store, Su Bin found a delivery truck parked outside, where a rotund man was directing several workers unloading goods. To enhance his reputation, Su Bin was willing to invest generously. The plaque and light box alone had cost him nearly 200,000. Including other expenses, this undertaking had set him back 300,000. As he observed the workers, he eagerly anticipated the transformation that the new plaque would bring to his storefront. An hour later, the plaque was mounted at the entrance, and dusk had settled over the city. As the lights illuminated the sign, Su Bin's spirits soared. The plaque, adorned with an orange background and white lettering, prominently displayed the logo of Mars Real Estate, followed by the company's name. Master, this looks splendid. It's far more attractive than the previous Jiao Real Estate sign, remarked Wang Yang. Could it be otherwise? Just for this plaque, your sister Tian's 2 or 3 golfs could be bought, Su Bin replied. Wow, that's quite expensive, Wang Yang exclaimed, sticking out his tongue in astonishment. A charming sight. Go and test the lighting. If there are any issues, have them resolve it promptly. Understood, master. As Su Bin watched Wang Yang skip into the store, he lit a cigarette, contemplating the 10-meter-long plaque, a symbol of his burgeoning enterprise. Just as he prepared to savor the moment, a thunderous noise erupted, startling him. Brother! The sudden shout nearly caused Su Bin to drop his cigarette, and as he turned towards the source of the commotion, he was left in stunned silence. Boom, boom, boom. At the entrance of a shop, a towering man, nearly 2 meters tall and weighing over 300 pounds, bursting with muscle, came running over. This robust figure sported a flat-top haircut, his square head sharply defined, and his fierce leopard-like eyes appeared particularly intimidating. Upon reaching Su Bin, the man was filled with excitement. Brother, is that really you? Su Bin, standing at 8 meters, felt diminutive in the presence of this giant. Staring at him, Su Bin could hardly believe his eyes. Lazy, where on earth have you been? Without a moment's hesitation, Su Bin kicked the burly man, sending him staggering back several steps. Seeing Su Bin's red eyes glistening with tears, the giant scratched his head and chuckled. Brother, you're really strong now. Stepping forward, Su Bin grasped the man's shoulder. Words eluded him as he gazed at this familiar face. This towering figure was Chun Lei, Su Bin's childhood friend and the very person who had deceived Jin Bao. Su Bin had once lived in the workers' dormitory of the meat processing plant, a community primarily comprised of its employees. Chun Lei's father was a truck driver for the plant, and his mother worked as an accountant, providing a comfortable upbringing. Within that small dormitory community, 3 children had gained considerable notoriety: Su Bin, Zhuo Baomin, and Chun Lei. Su Bin was famously known for being viewed as less than competent, often ridiculed as a failure. Consequently, he was sometimes referred to as Dog Bin or Su Wuna. Zhuo Baomin, another childhood companion, was notoriously reckless in fights, fiercely defending Su Bin from any insults. Whenever Su Yaozu bullied Su Bin, Zhuo Baomin would team up with Chun Lei to retaliate. This often led to a cycle of brawls, with Su Fu's son punishing Su Bin afterward, only for Zhuo Baomin to continue the cycle of violence against Su Yaozu, earning him the nickname Zhuo Madman. As for Chun Lei, his nickname Chen Fool was a tragic tale. In his youth, he had nearly been abducted by human traffickers. Although he was rescued, the incident left him traumatized. Diagnosed with severe schizophrenia and mania, Chun Lei displayed a gentle demeanor when stable, but became dangerous during episodes. At times, he believed himself to be Hong Qi-gong, and at others, Sun Wukong. The parents of Chun Lei and Zhuo Baomin treated Su Bin with great kindness, especially Chun Lei's, who regarded Su Bin as their own son. Whenever Su Bin struggled to find enough to eat at home, Chun Lei's parents would prepare delicious meals for him. Unfortunately, fate was unkind. About 10 years ago, after the old meat processing plant went bankrupt, Zhuo Baomin's family moved to Brazil for work and had not returned since, losing all contact with Su Bin. Meanwhile, Chun Lei's father found employment with a transportation company to start anew. 7 years ago, the old dormitory was demolished. Due to a forceful demolition, Chun Lei's parents perished beneath the rubble of their home. Following the tragic loss, Qinlei succumbed to a sudden mental breakdown. That very night, he retaliated against 10 individuals associated with the developer, resulting in the deaths of 3 and grievous injuries to 7. Suffering from severe schizophrenia and mania, he was subsequently confined to a psychiatric hospital under strict supervision. For several years, Su Bin visited him regularly, but 2 years ago, Qinlei unexpectedly recovered and was discharged. Since then, Su Bin had not laid eyes on his dear friend, even harboring fears that Qinlei might have succumbed to the outside world. Upon their reunion, a whirlwind of emotions engulfed Su Bin, while Qinlei could only gaze back at him with a foolish grin. "Why didn't you inform me of your discharge, you rascal?" Su Bin exclaimed. "Brother, during those years, you visited me and even provided financial support." Uncle Su was not pleased. Qinlei replied, "I understand your struggles. I could not accept your money," Su Bin retorted, his anger flaring at Qinlei's words, though he found himself at a loss for further response. "How have you survived since your release?" Su Bin inquired. "Initially, I scavenged for refuse. Eventually, I secured employment at this company. I can drive now. My boss arranged for my license, and I worked as a mover and a decorator. He pays me 800 yuan a month, providing food and lodging. Brother, I am doing quite well. I can earn my own living now," Qinlei stated, igniting Su Bin's ire once more. Pointing at the on-site supervisor, Su Bin called out, "Hey, come here." Chapter 23, The Strength to Move Mountains. Qinshatzi Li Feng is the proprietor of Jufeng Advertising Company. Su Bin has commissioned goods from Jufeng worth an impressive 300,000. In addition to the signboard, there are numerous electronic display screens involved. This is indeed a substantial order. Given the current challenging business climate, Li Feng has personally come to oversee the successful execution of this deal. Upon encountering Su Bin, Li Feng is secretly astonished by the youthfulness of Su Bin, while simultaneously speculating about his background. It may not be remarkable to own a real estate agency, but leasing an over 800 square meter store near the Golden Street in Jingzhou signifies considerable strength. When Su Bin, with a tone less than amiable, calls out to him, Li Feng hastens over. Li Feng, appearing to be in his 40s, stands at a modest height of only 165 centimeters, yet he weighs over 200 pounds. From a distance, he resembles a large ball. "Hello, Mr. Su. The installation here is nearly complete. How about the final payment?" Hearing Li Feng mention the final payment, Su Bin can't help but smile. According to Qinlei, he has been both a driver and a laborer, as well as a decorator. And yet Li Feng only paid him 800 yuan for an entire month's work. Even a fool shouldn't be taken advantage of in such a manner. Has Qinlei truly been underestimated? Now, Li Feng actually has the audacity to mention the final payment. Su Bin regards Li Feng with a cold smile. "Final payment. Indeed. It is time to settle that. So, how do you propose we proceed?" "Hey, Mr. Su, what are you doing?" Although Li Feng senses Su Bin's unfriendly demeanor, he dismisses it. He has weathered many storms in his life. However, to his astonishment, Su Bin suddenly pulls him closer, given Li Feng's substantial weight. Even with the martial prowess inherited from Zhang Shun, Su Bin can only manage to move in 2 steps, gripping Li Feng's collar. Su Bin points to Qinlei and exclaims, "This is my brother. Are you trying to deceive him with a mere 800 yuan a month? And you dare to issue him a driver's license? With his condition, can he even drive?" "Brother, I learned to drive a heavy truck when I was 7, and I am quite steady behind the wheel." "Silence, do not interrupt." "Oh." Su Bin's words leave Li Feng momentarily dumbfounded. Hiring Qinlei as a worker was purely incidental. At the time, Qinlei resembled a homeless person rummaging through garbage for food. Initially, Li Feng intended to employ him merely as a laborer. After a few inquiries, he learned that Qinlei's entire family had perished, which led him to contemplate ulterior motives. No one anticipated that this seemingly foolish vagrant had a brother who appears to be quite formidable. "Mr. Su, let us converse rationally. We have a contract in place. The 800 was merely the base salary. There are performance bonuses, but Qinlei did not meet the standards. Now, please release me. We live in a society governed by law. We are all civilized individuals. I have no desire to engage in idle chatter. I do not care about the money. But I cannot stand by and watch someone bully my brother. You have 2 options. Either compensate my brother for the wages owed over the past year, or kneel and apologize to him." Su Bin's eyes are beginning to redden. Left Bauman and Qinlei's parents have been exceedingly kind to Su Bin. Devoid of the warmth from the Zhuo and Qin families, Su Bin's demeanor towards Su Bin himself has long been steeped in melancholy. With the Zhuo family now out of contact and the Qin family's elders departed, Su Bin feels a compelling need to repay his gratitude by caring for Qinlei. "Brother, Kneeling is an act reserved for the deceased. Boss Lee is a decent man. On occasion, he brings me leftovers from his meals. Chun-Lei is genuinely simple-hearted. Unbeknownst to him, Boss Lee's leftovers are merely a means to curry favor with him. Otherwise, they would be discarded. Silence, you mountain pig. You cannot digest fine grains. Oh. Upon hearing Su Bin's words, Li Feng suddenly chuckled. Su boss, engaging in underhanded dealings, are we? Am I to be frightened of you? I will neither pay nor apologize. What can you do to me? How will you handle me? Li Feng, too, possesses a temper. He understands that he must not show weakness at this juncture. So, you were foregoing the final payment? Su Bin's mere statement caused Li Feng to wilt instantly. This transaction totals 310,000. With Su Bin having paid 50,000 as a deposit, leaving over 200,000 in balance. Observing Su Bin's envious expression, Li Feng realized that failing to comply with Su Bin's demands would indeed make the remaining payment difficult to secure. However, neither supplementing Chun-Lei's wages nor kneeling an apology was Li Feng's desire. Su boss, do not sever the path ahead. If you do, I may have to find someone to discuss matters with you. No one has ever managed to withhold my payment. Upon hearing this, Su Bin smiled. You intend to find someone to strike me? Huh, I am a law-abiding citizen. Are you aware of Iron Lin from Malfong Road? He is my brother. I cannot harm you, but my brother has a temper. Su Bin had indeed heard of Iron Lin from Malfong Road. This individual was reputed to have been a notorious thug in Jingzhou during his youth and now operates several lending companies. Observing Li Feng's arrogant demeanor, Su Bin inquired with a smile, So, you intend to have someone attack me? I reiterate, I am an honest merchant. However, I cannot guarantee what my brother may do. While Su Bin conversed with Li Feng, Chun-Lei stood by, blissfully unaware. Upon hearing Li Feng's threatening words, Chun-Lei's expression shifted dramatically. You want to harm my brother? Brother, you need to hide. Boom, boom, boom. Chun-Lei comprehended that Li Feng intended to send someone to attack Su Bin. In a swift motion, he charged directly in front of Li Feng. Su Bin, who had been gripping Li Feng's collar, was forcibly shoved aside by Chun-Lei as he rushed over. Su Bin felt himself being displaced. Chun-Lei's strength on land was certainly greater than Zhang Shan's. After tossing Su Bin away, Chun-Lei seized Li Feng by the waistband. Su Bin barely registered how Chun-Lei exerted such force to lift Li Feng above his head. You want to harm my brother. Apologize to my brother. Apologize. Otherwise, I will throw you to your demise. To your demise. Su Bin and the surrounding onlookers were left astonished. Chun-Lei's fierce bravery frightened many. In modern times, such a display would be remarkable. In ancient times, with Chun-Lei's physique, he would have been the archetypal valiant warrior charging into battle. Li Feng felt as though the sky was spinning, a sensation that anyone who has experienced extreme vertigo could empathize with. His body seemed to belong to someone else entirely. Chun-Lei, put me down. If you hurt me, I will report you to the authorities. I am mentally ill. I am Hong Qigong. I am Sun Wukong. Apologize to my brother. Apologize. As he spoke, Chun-Lei had already lifted Li Feng and began to twirl him around. At that moment, Li Feng realized that Chun-Lei's mind was quite unhinged. Years ago, when Chun-Lei claimed he had killed numerous people with his bare hands, Li Feng had dismissed it as mere bravado. Yet, upon further inquiry, he discovered there was indeed some truth to it. It was simply that Chun-Lei's usually earnest demeanor had caused Li Feng to forget this fact. Chun-Lei, I was wrong. I was wrong. Put me down, ugh. I feel nauseous. Apologize to my brother. Su boss, I was wrong. Su Bin, witnessing Chun-Lei nearly end Li Feng's life, finally spoke up. Lazy, put him down. Oh, as Li Feng's feet returned to the ground, he immediately retched violently. Chapter 24, Love You, Dad and Mom. After retching for what felt like an eternity, Li Feng finally managed to rise to his feet. With that bout of vomiting, he felt as though he were being shattered into pieces. Boss Su, please spare me this torment. I am nearly 50 years old. I cannot endure such stress any longer. Let's settle this. I shall forego the remaining payment. Consider it compensation for Chun-Lei. What do you say? Upon hearing Li Feng's words, Su Bin's eyes glinted with a chilling light. This Li Feng was indeed scheming. Still attempting to ensnare Su Bin even at this juncture. Are you attempting to deceive me? A deal is a deal. Wages are wages. And the final payment is another matter entirely. How shall I calculate it? It has been such a long time. Provide me with a figure. Su Bin let out a cold laugh. Just from that one laugh, Li Feng understood he was dealing with a formidable opponent. Noticing Li Feng's silence, Su Bin continued. If I provide a figure, will you turn around and accuse me of extortion? Su Bin's words caused Chun-Lei, with his blockhead, to turn his attention. With a fierce glare, Chun-Lei exclaimed, "What? You want to accuse my brother? Wait a moment, Lazy." "Oh." Chun-Lei complied with Su Bin's request. Seeing Chun-Lei glaring at him, Li Feng instinctively took 2 steps back. He felt as though he had stepped outside without consulting the almanac. Su Bin and Chun-Lei were an intimidating duo. One was meticulous, while the other was reckless, bordering on madness. Their combination was utterly formidable, like a wolf and tiger colluding. "What do you suggest I do? How shall I calculate the wages after all this time?" Li Feng's voice trembled with desperation. Observing Li Feng on the verge of tears, Su Bin slowly replied, "That is your concern. You cannot take private payments. This is compensation from your company for Lazy." Su Bin's impenetrable stance left Li Feng in utter despair. After contemplating for a moment, Li Feng proposed, "Chun-Lei has been with me for less than a year and a half. I will calculate it as 18 months. Is it acceptable if I compensate him 10,000 yuan per month?" To borrow a phrase from many young women, what Su Bin cared about was not the money, but rather an attitude. Chun-Lei did not feel wronged, yet Su Bin could not allow him to endure any injustice. The amount of money was not the crux of the issue. Before long, Li Feng had the company arrange all necessary matters, including Chun-Lei's resignation certificate. Handing the resignation certificate to Chun-Lei, Su Bin remarked, "Boss Li, you are quite discerning. Is this matter concluded?" "Yes, it is finished." "All right. I will settle the final payment in 7 days. Boss Su, I hope you keep your word. I shall take my leave now." As Li Feng prepared to depart, Su Bin called out to him, "Boss Li, Boss Su, is there anything else? This matter is concluded. Should you entertain any further thoughts, I am prepared to stake my entire fortune against you." Su Bin's tone was calm, yet brimming with confidence. He spoke earnestly. His net worth was just over 300 million. If Li Feng truly dared to entertain other thoughts, Su Bin would genuinely risk everything to confront him. Nodding slightly, Li Feng said nothing more as he entered his vehicle. Once inside, his cousin, summoning courage, inquired, "Cousin, should we call Brother Tai Lin? Where have you been just now?" Li Feng's inquiry elicited no concern from his cousin. "Brother, that Chin fool is mentally unstable. You are aware of this. Seeking out Tai Lin is futile. He will demand at least 1 million from me." Enough of that. Su Bin is no pushover. His gaze is as predatory as a beast. In business, harmony brings prosperity. After Li Feng's convoy departed, Chun-Lei approached Su Bin with a silly grin and said, "Brother, give me your outpay. I will transfer the money to you through online payment." Observing Chun-Lei, Su Bin chuckled and patted his shoulder. "This is for you. I don't need to spend money. Brother, as long as I can eat my fill, this money is for you to marry a wife. Uncle Chen certainly won't help you find a wife. You should use this money for that purpose." Chun-Lei's words drew a sigh from Su Bin. Looking at Chun-Lei, Su Bin replied, "You should save your money. I have become prosperous now, and the earnings we brothers make in this lifetime will be more than enough." "Hee, that's wonderful. I always knew my brother was formidable. I just wonder where Bao Min is. Otherwise, we could enjoy our time together." As they spoke, Chun-Lei's stomach grumbled. "Hee, brother, I'm hungry. Come, I'll take you to eat braised pork bones." Near Su Bin's shop was a northeastern restaurant renowned for its delectable cuisine. Recently, Su Bin had been ordering meals for his employees from there. Upon arriving and placing their order, Su Bin was astonished. Chun-Lei devoured 10 pounds of braised pork bones. He consumed 3 pounds of rice, and there is no need to elaborate on the other dishes. Even the 2 pounds of handmade dumplings gifted by the proprietress were quickly devoured by Chun-Lei. It was only after he finished a large bowl of wontons that he contentedly set down his chopsticks. "Brother, how long has it been since you last ate?" "Hee, brother. Isn't my income modest? I usually don't dare to indulge, fearing that Boss Li would disdain me. All right, from now on, eat whatever you desire." Chun-Lei's words stirred a wave of inexplicable sorrow in Su Bin. He had always been a man of his word. After their meal, Su Bin took Chun-Lei to a nearby shopping mall. Clothes, shoes, watches, phones, jewelry, whatever was expensive, Su Bin purchased for Chun-Lei. Ultimately, it was only after Chun-Lei insisted that Su Bin finally relented. Determined to repay his gratitude, Su Bin was resolute in his intentions. Not only did Su Bin buy items for Chun-Lei, but the following morning, he specifically took Chun-Lei to purchase a prime burial plot. This plot was not for Chun-Lei, but rather for his parents. Although Chun-Lei had evaded criminal responsibility for his past case, civil liability was inescapable. The Chun family's assets and compensation from the demolition had all been forfeited. Chun-Lei's actions had indeed been harsh. Among the injured, there were still a few who remained in a vegetative state, never to awaken. Due to financial constraints, Chun-Lei's parents had their ashes stored for a time. Eventually, It was Su Bin who discreetly purchased a small burial plot for the elderly couple, now that Su Bin had attained success. It was only natural for him to secure a larger resting place for the two elders, as the new burial site awaited an auspicious date for relocation. Su Bin took Qinlei to visit the small graves of his father and mother. Before the cemetery, Qinlei knelt silently. After arranging the offerings, Su Bin lit 3 incense sticks for the two elders. Uncle Qin, Aunt Wu, it's time to let go. I no longer have ties with the Su family, but I shall always regard you as my father and mother. Back then, when I wished to call you my godparents, Su Fusen nearly drowned me in the river upon discovering my intentions. At last, I can utter the words Mom and Dad. You two still care for your son. I have succeeded. And I have encountered Lei Zi. Rest assured, Lei Zi will be like a brother to me, and I shall take care of him, as long as I have food. He shall never go hungry. I will also manage my marriage and children, ensuring their future is secure. We will visit you often. With these words, Su Bin knelt and bowed 3 times to the two elders. In that moment of kneeling, memories flooded his heart. Lei Zi, you devoured 1 chicken leg. You must share with Xiao Bin. Xiao Bin, try on this garment. It looks splendid on you. Xiao Bin, do not cry. If you ever go hungry, come to Aunt Wu's home. Her child, come here for a hug. Remembering their loving voices and gentle faces, tears streamed down Su Bin's cheeks. Meanwhile, Qinlei, as sturdy as an iron tower, was already in tears. Raising his head, Qinlei looked at Su Bin with a choked voice and said, Brother, I miss my parents. Chapter 25. Su Bin does not paint a pie. He directly serves meat manager Zhang. Today is the 18th. You must have the management system for my store ready by tomorrow evening at the latest. The urgency of time is not a concern for me. It is merely a straightforward management system, and you have already delayed me for 2 days. If the system is not completed by 7 p.m. tomorrow, we shall not proceed with this business, as per our contract. Time flies, and before one realizes, another week is nearly over. On this day, Su Bin was in his office, making a call to a software vendor. After hanging up, he turned to Tian beside him and remarked, I should have trusted your words. Such large companies truly do not regard our small endeavors with any seriousness. Listening to Su Bin, Tian smiled and replied, Boss, do you have many matters to consider? There will always be areas where one may overlook. Are all the team members here? Yes. Everyone is in the lobby on the 1st floor. All right, it is time to hold a motivational meeting, as the company opens the day after tomorrow. Turning his gaze, Su Bin called out to Qinlei, who was playing CS1. 5 on a computer with a 4090 configuration, Lei Zi, downstairs. Got it, bro? Qinlei, still mimicking sound effects, promptly shut off the game. In the lobby of the Mars Real Estate flagship store, over 40 employees were already waiting. Among them, 33 were real estate sales agents, while the rest included clerical staff, administration, finance, and media directors. The lobby spanned over 200 square meters. Observing the 6 rows of employees standing before him, Su Bin felt quite pleased. As Su Bin descended the stairs from the 2nd floor, all 40-plus individuals simultaneously greeted, Hello, boss. Haha, hello everyone. Su Bin replied as he approached the gathered employees. Beside him stood a cabinet covered with a red cloth, a source of speculation for everyone present regarding its contents. Surveying the more than 40 employees clad in white shirts, Su Bin, dressed in a black shirt, smiled and stated, Not long ago, I was just like you, a sales agent. Now, I have become a boss. As a boss, my goal is to generate profit. But I cannot do it alone. I need your support. I aim to enable you to earn for me, and I am sincerely grateful for your trust in me. If anyone were to suggest selling a property and offering only a 30 commission, I would not have come here, not even for a base salary. After distributing that 30% among our partners, how much would remain? It is akin to fooling the naive. Ha ha ha. Su Bin's words elicited laughter from the crowd. Yet, they still chose to join him. I understand your thoughts. The real estate agent profession is highly fluid. Most of you are here drawn by the promise of a guaranteed minimum of 5 to 10 deals each month. I believe many of you are here to observe first. This motivational meeting will not be lengthy. I, Su Bin, do not engage in fanciful talk. I prefer to directly serve my brothers and sisters with tangible rewards. Yang, Tian. As Su Bin's words faded, Wang Yang and Tian, clad in black work dresses and black stockings, swiftly pulled aside the crimson silk drapery that veiled the glass cabinet, when the cabinet, concealed by the red cloth, unveiled its true visage. An air of breathless anticipation enveloped the room. This imposing glass cabinet, shrouded in bulletproof glass, boasted a generous 7 tiers. The pinnacle tier housed the key to an Audi A6 model. The second tier displayed the key to a Xiaomi SU7 model, while the third tier featured the key to a Havel H6 model. The upper three tiers were devoted to car models and their respective keys, while the lower three tiers contained gold bars, cash, luxury handbags, smartphones, smartwatches, and 4,090 graphics cards, among other treasures. Pointing to the first tier, Subin proclaimed with vigor, "On the 20th of this month, we shall inaugurate Mars Real Estate. From the 20th until the last day of next month, the top seller will claim this Audi A6 as their prize. Those who assist the top seller in achieving their targets may freely select a gift from the tiers below. I must clarify, however, that each person may only choose one item. The second prize is the Xiaomi SU7, the third prize is the Havel H6. And for the fourth place, well, you'll need to exert yourself further. The cars are ready, they await outside the store. Whoever possesses the capability shall drive them away. I reiterate, if you help me generate profits, I shall ensure you are well rewarded. The bounty is laid before you. It is up to you to seize it." The atmosphere in the hall was thick with silence, punctuated only by the sound of hurried breaths. Were it not for Chinlei, adorned in an Arc'teryx outfit and sporting Tyrannosaurus glasses, standing before the glass cabinet, Subin might have suspected these individuals were poised to make a rash move. He observed the fervor igniting in their eyes, a burning desire for wealth. Subin possessed the remarkable matching tool, enabling him to precisely sell various properties. Yet, he alone could only accomplish so much. With the matching tool, Subin had transformed real estate sales into a somewhat intricate form of labor. Yet he required these individuals to tirelessly pursue transactions. To inspire his subordinates to labor diligently, he must be willing to invest, especially in times of mere promises without tangible results. The cars and gold bars represented the rewards Subin offered. One cannot expect wolves to thrive on mere fodder. A culture driven by ambition requires sustenance. Now that the bounty was presented at their fingertips, it was up to each individual to grasp the opportunity. After a brief silence, a woman in her late 20s suddenly exclaimed, "Long live the boss! Long live the boss!" Huzzah! This solitary glass cabinet had unleashed the primal instincts within this assembly. The eagerness among them was palpable, with many wishing to dedicate every waking hour to work. That evening, the employees reveled in joy, and Subin delighted in his expenditures. Starting from the 20th, these individuals would transform into a relentless source of income for Subin. How could he not be elated? Subin has calculated that, provided these sales personnel possess effective communication skills, each individual could reasonably secure an average of 2 transactions every 3 days. With a diligent approach, achieving one or even multiple sales in a single day is not an insurmountable challenge. The real estate prices in Jingzhou are considerably high, with an average of nearly 30,000 yuan per square meter. The typical price for a property exceeds 2 million yuan. Currently, Subin is managing second-hand properties, with a commission rate of 3 of the transaction price. Assuming a month consists of 30 days, a sufficiently industrious salesperson could conservatively generate 10 transactions in that time frame. Based on the most minimal figures, such a salesperson would yield a commission of 600,000 yuan for Mars Real Estate in a single month. What about the 30-plus sales personnel? As the reputation of the agency grows, an increasing number of experienced salespeople will flock to Subin. He harbors no fear of competition, as the monthly transaction volume for second-hand properties in Jingzhou approaches 10,000 units. Regardless of how many individuals arrive, Subin possesses ample property listings and clientele. What he requires is someone to facilitate the sales. Observing his inebriated employees, Subin smiled contentedly. Both he and his staff have a promising future ahead. Subin is elated. His cash cows are soon to start generating profits. The employees at Mars Real Estate share in his joy, seemingly sensing the alluring fragrance of wealth. Within the Su family, Su Fusen and his son are equally delighted, having located Su Bin's whereabouts. "Son, that Tian Wenba has learned of Go Bin's location. He has indeed struck it rich by opening a store near Golden Street. Father, what are we waiting for? Let us go right away. Patience. Go Bin's grand opening is on the 20th. We shall go tomorrow, first with courtesy, then with force. If he refuses to comply, we shall make his life most uncomfortable." Chapter 26, 200 million. I shall purchase the following day marked the eve of the grand opening of the Martian real estate flagship store, with merely a day remaining. Subin chose the 20th for the inauguration for a straightforward reason. The new identity cards would be ready. He perceived this day as particularly auspicious. Around 10 o'clock in the morning, the software company finally completed the store management system that Subin had requested. This system was remarkably user-friendly. essentially functioning as a standard real estate agency management tool. However, Subin had requested the software company to incorporate a feature for internal task delegation. The Starry Real Estate Sales Champion card included a matcher that could pair various properties with success rates and credibility scores. All Subin needed to do was input this information into the system and delegate it to the sales team below, focusing on a straightforward and effective approach. To demonstrate efficacy, Subin's initial batch of listed properties boasted a success rate exceeding 98. It could be asserted that as long as the sales team refrained from mistreating clients, engaging in inappropriate banter, or harboring ulterior motives, these listings were bound to succeed. It is worth noting that these agents were seasoned professionals, unlikely to commit basic errors. Inside the store, Subin observed the sales team as they familiarized themselves with the new system. At that moment, 3 large trucks arrived outside. Brother Ben, the delivery of fruits and snacks has
Okay,
arrived.
give me 1 second.
All right, I understand. Subin was quite invested in this store, having already committed nearly 2 million yuan in promised rewards. Furthermore,
open up Discord.
he had ordered 6 3-door refrigerators
Okay, sorry about that. Um, I'm having a bit of problem with uploading this video on YouTube. I think I might have to re-download it. I mean, re-upload it. Okay.
All brimming with fruits, beverages, and snacks. This not only served as employee perks but also as hospitality for clients. Tion felt a pang of concern upon witnessing Su Bin's lavish spending. The threshold for entering the real estate agency sector was not particularly high. Yet Su Bin's extravagant expenditures were indeed rare. At this moment, Tion's sole hope was that Su Bin could continue the fortunate momentum from selling the Long and Wuyuan for Villa. Otherwise, she genuinely feared that Martian real estate might falter before it even commenced its journey. Upon hearing that the delivery had arrived, Su Bin promptly summoned people to unload the goods. Chen Lei, who had been engrossed in playing CS1.5, suddenly sprang forth. Brother, I'll help with the unloading. You carry on with your game. No, I'm feeling energetic, he declared, rushing outside. Subin did not deter him. July in Jingzhou was quite sweltering, and Subin found himself drenched in sweat after merely a short while outside. Just as he contemplated retreating indoors for some respite, he heard the roar of a horn. Turning around, he spotted a Rolls-Royce Phantom parked by the roadside, followed by a delivery truck. As the car door swung open, Yuzuki, adorned in vibrant streetwear, hopped out. Bounding over to Subin, she instinctively rose on her toes and patted him on the shoulder. Old Su, this store looks impressive. What brings you here? I brought you a gift. Since your opening is tomorrow, I thought I should bring some presents. As she spoke, Yuzuki promptly summoned Uncle Ma to unload the cargo. The items she was sending to Subin were all decorative pieces, such as various ornaments and a towering vase. Even the crafts were worth a considerable sum. Observing the workers transporting the goods, Subin, feeling somewhat embarrassed, remarked, Chi-Chi, this is too extravagant. We're all friends here. He suggested, let us move to your office. It's too hot outside. I have something to discuss with you and a small favor to ask. After you, please. Tian, bring some fruit, he instructed. Understood, boss. She replied. Once Subin and Yuzuki entered the office, Wang Yang unexpectedly appeared. Sister Tian, is that lazy sheep a boy or a girl? He inquired. I can't tell. It looks a bit like a young handsome guy, she responded. It's hard to determine the gender, but they are quite good-looking. Surely, the master wouldn't. Wang Yang hesitated. I remember he doesn't have a girlfriend. No way. Hey, don't say that carelessly. Be mindful that Bin Gu might hear and feel unhappy. We need to be respectful. The atmosphere felt rather affectionate among them. Suddenly, Subin sneezed twice in the office, sensing that perhaps the Su family was chastising him. Are you all right? Old Su, looking so fragile. What will you do when I invite you to the club? Should we find you an old Chinese medicine doctor? Listening to Yuzuki's teasing, Subin chuckled. Perhaps I caught a chill. By the way, is there anything I can assist you with? Indeed, she replied. I wasn't able to purchase a house last time. Recently, I viewed a few, but none were satisfactory. Considering you are an elite in this field, I thought I could seek your advice. I'm not in a rush. I just want to avoid further hassle, as it's quite vexing. Even affluent individuals find house hunting troublesome. For ordinary folks, the concern is the price, while the wealthy seek the right sentiment. Typically, the transaction period for a house is lengthy, yet Subin had an advantage. Listening to Yuzuki's words, he nodded. Do you have a preferred location? I do prefer a property in the Jinxiu Golf Manor, but there are no listings available. A similar property in Longlin Wuyue would suffice. As long as it's not a haunted house. What is the price range? He queried, realizing he had asked too much. Without waiting for Yuzuki to flaunt her wealth, Subin directly accessed the matching tool. He first searched for villas in Jinxiu Golf Manor and, as expected, found none for sale. Quickly, he turned to search for properties in Longlin Wuyue. Surprisingly, Yuzuki's luck was favorable. There was indeed a villa urgently for sale. Li Qing, shareholder of the Sunan Catering Group. The group's equity is unstable, and Li Qing urgently requires funds to stabilize the stock price. Currently selling Villa No. 9 in Longlin Wuyue for 200 million, with a psychological price of 150 million. Willingness to sell rated 5 stars, trustworthiness rated 5 stars. Upon seeing this real estate information, Subin immediately performed a purchase match for Li Qing and Yuzuki. The final success rate was an impressive 99, nearly guaranteeing a successful transaction. Once assured, Subin addressed Yuzuki, saying, as it happens, I do possess a property that aligns with your requirements. Shall I make a call to inquire? Yuzuki, evidently skeptical of Subin's capabilities, retorted, Come on, don't boast. Luxurious villas are rare finds. Subin merely smiled, choosing not to respond. He retrieved his mobile phone and directly dialed Li Qing's number. Hello, Mr. Li, this is Subin, the general manager of Mars Real Estate. I have a prospective buyer for the Dragonscale 5 Mountains Villa number 9 you have on the market, and they are prepared to pay in full. Mars Real Estate? I haven't listed any properties with your company, Li Qing replied. Mr. Li, that detail is inconsequential. What truly matters is my ability to facilitate the sale of your property. Such confidence. I won't part with this villa for less than 200 million, and the commission must be covered by the buyer, Li Qing asserted, still holding firm. Hearing Li Qing's unwavering stance, Subin chuckled lightly. You should be aware of the current real estate trends, Mr. Li. A price of 200 million is simply unrealistic for this property. Wait, I'll buy it for 200 million. Money is not an issue, as long as I find it worthwhile. Subin quickly covered the phone, for otherwise, that one chance of failure would have been carelessly handed over to Yuzuki. Chapter 27 Troubles arrive. Observing Subin's gesture for silence, Yuzuki immediately covered her mouth like a little hamster, realizing that she had just misspoken. Then why did you call me? If it doesn't e-sell, I'll take my time. Do you have something else to attend to? If not, I'll hang up. On the other end, Li Qing's tone exhibited a hint of impatience. However, Subin was well aware that this was merely a fade. If she were genuinely annoyed, she would have terminated the call outright. Very well, my apologies for the interruption, CEO Li. Subin concluded without hanging up, and neither did Li Qing. After a silence of more than 10 seconds, Li Qing inquired, "Are you certain you can pay in full?" "In full," Subin affirmed, while Yuzuki vigorously nodded beside him. 200 million was hardly sufficient for a single day's earnings of Yuzuki's family. Then how about 180 million? With the buyer covering the commission? Upon hearing this, Subin smiled. CEO Li, let us settle on a firm price of 150 million, with you covering the commission. Li Qing exploded on the other end. Have you lost your mind, or have I? 150 million is something I could easily keep for myself. And you expect me to pay the commission? Why not just go rob a bank? In the realm of sales, whoever loses composure first has already succumbed to defeat. Noticing Li Qing's slight loss of control, Subin remarked with a smile, "So Li, neither of us is insane. We are currently in a buyer's market. The old rule of buyers paying the commission no longer holds true. Moreover, time waits for no one. Wouldn't you agree?" Subin's assertion about time brought Li Qing to a standstill. 170 million, with the commission split evenly. CEO Li, 150 million, with you covering the commission. Who on earth are you? I am merely a humble intermediary, and you are eager to sell while I happen to have a buyer. This time, Li Qing remained silent for 3 minutes. After a lengthy pause, she sighed and asked, "When can the funds be transferred?" "Let me check." Subin glanced at Yuzuki, who readily indicated that as long as the villa was satisfactory, the money could be...
Okay, I am going to end the stream for now. I'll be back on in a couple of hours, and when I get back on, I'll be playing Star Wars, The Old Republic. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit. Peace.